ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, toxic relationship advice channel. Yes. And make sure you hit the like button, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and also share out my commentary. And feel free to check out some of my past commentary. Alright, so we got a relationship topic here. And it's with Derrick Jaxn and Donna. Yes. Now, Donna a while ago was on was it My Future Wifey Podcast, something like that, which now her husband, well, soon to be ex-husband, was on it. So now he's giving his side of the story, and I kind of I respect the host of that show, because basically he let both of them come on. We got to hear both sides of the story, and listening to his side of the story, Derrick Jaxn, you got a little bit more clarity. The little gaps, the stuff that we didn't really understand too much when Donna was on there. Alright, so what I want you to do is make sure you share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section and tell me what do you think of the whole thing, or you don't think anything. I don't know, whatever, just share your thoughts, but make sure you hit the like button. Now, what I noticed too, when Donna was on My Future Wifey Podcast, I mean, everybody was just watching, it was just trending, everybody was talking, had all this to say. They was just there, right? But now Derrick, he's telling his side, nobody's really giving it any exposure. I don't see anybody doing commentary on it. And when Donna was on My Future Wifey Podcast, I was tempted to do commentary on her. Well, it's going to be on my other channel. I was going to do commentary. But my spirit, every time I meant to do it, just kept holding me back to not do it. And I'm glad I didn't, because now it filled in the gaps of certain things. Because certain things she said, I really wasn't quite understood it or whatever. But hey, it is what it is. So we're going to watch this one, right? And there might be times I might pause for a second or two to share my thoughts and opinions. Or, my co-host, the real Jack Newtown. Today he's Derrick and I'm Donna. Now, if he might tell me to pause and he wants to share his thoughts and opinions, all right? And we're gonna go from there. So this one here is on Dear Future Wifey Podcast, and the name of the video is The Answer to All Your Questions About Derrick Jaxn. And I have to say is I really do feel he's being very humble and very honest on his side of the story. This is my thoughts and opinions. I mean, I don't hang with him. I don't break bread with him, so, really don't know. But I kind of get those vibes. All right. And I see you, One Busy Mama. Blessings to you, girl. And I see you, Joshua. Hey. Welcome. And Lovejoy, beautiful. She just popped up here. You ready, girl? You got your popcorn? Let's get it. All right. Let's get it, everybody.
The voice for caring for a woman's heart, but then privately destroying the woman you had at home.
Resentment. That was the denial I needed. It was like you would do anything and feel like you right in doing it if you feel hurt enough, pissed off enough, disrespected, or taken for granted enough. These are a lot of the things that I was saying to her, like, man, you taking me for granted. And nothing to do with nothing physical or superficial. It was like how much I'm sacrificing for you.
Love is a treasure chest, but once opened, our hearts become vulnerable.
I went back to Vegas. It was this guy. He appeared as a friend. Sure enough, it led to infidelity.
Alignment can't be ignored.
We talked about certain topics as far as having kids. She didn't want to have kids. And that was one of the red flags.
And I know you desire marriage. So I think it's best you move on with your life.
What you do? Hold on, Lisa, what you do?
I told him, okay.
She didn't ask me why.
I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. I watched their videos of them having sex, so I would try to imitate that.
No discussion is off limits. Dear Future Wifey Podcast brings healing.
You inspire us to try God a little bit more.
Through this platform, I have realized that it's possible. It's possible to love again.
The conversations have really helped me to change my perspective on relationships.
Season 7 is all about tough topics. I'm Lateris R. Winfield, and welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast.
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars, wasting time?
Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey.
I forgot to address, just in case, I don't know if I did or whatever, but this is actually part 2 of the interview. I did cover the part 1 of reaction, Jack and I did, and this is the part 2. So this one here, it really fills in a lot of questions and people might have been curious about, and he's going to answer them today. Mr. Derrick Jaxn, let's get it.
Wifey Podcast. I'm your host, Lateris R. Winfield. Listen,
Are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. We're trying to hit 500K subscribers, and we're about a little less than 75,000. I don't know what it'd be at this point. 75,000 away. Thank y'all so much for the exponential growth that we've experienced on the Dear Future Wifey podcast in just 3 years. Thank y'all so much. If you're listening to us on streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, make sure that you leave a review and make sure that you subscribe on Apple Podcasts and receive downloads every time we drop one. Well, this is part 2 of the episode, You Reap What You Sow, with my homie, Derrick Jaxn. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man.
So the first episode was pretty good. How you feel?
I feel good. I feel comfortable. Yeah, I'm glad to know that you ain't gonna bite my head off. I was a little bit nervous, man.
Do you feel like did you come in here with a little bit of guards up? You made a comment. You was like, "Hey, you thought that I had DM'd you prior, like a few years." We say what year?
2014.
2014. I said that was my boy Bashay.
Okay.
Shout out to Bashay Williams. You said he reached out to you about using Dear Future Wife.
Yeah.
And you said that at that time you was a hothead, and you was like, "What?"
Man, forget you. Forget you. Praise the Lord.
He said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Man, look, I've been doing it, so you ain't going to tell me. No.
Yeah.
I ain't know what you was on, man, but I appreciate you, darling. It's like, this is a really good conversation.
Yeah, that was Bashay that sent that to you, but shout out to him. He actually, I talked about on my previous episodes, he actually gifted me with the trademark for Dear Future Wife.
That's real.
So shout out to that brother. So we're at the point in the conversation where you were contemplating calling off the marriage. What happened for you to decide to go forward with the engagement?
I just felt like it was too much pressure. It was like we're getting close to the wedding. Of course, the stress of that. I think she was still pregnant. She was pregnant now with my baby boy, Derrick Jr. And I'm like, it's so much on the line. And then on top of that, I'm doing my thing in my career. So we had sat down maybe a little bit before this and mapped out a plan. Well, I mapped out a plan with her because most of the stuff that I had done from the first book to the initial, whatever, was in my single stages. So this is the first time we're going into this chapter together. And I'm like, I got you by my side. This is what the play is. We're going to do this, this, and this. And then in the next couple of years, we're going to be able to just be philanthropists and be multimillionaires and whatever. So at this point, I'm making multimillions in my 20s. So she already knows what's up. So I didn't want to abandon ship.
You was making multi-millions?
Yeah. In my 20s, I was making multi-millions. Glory to God. But
so that was the stuff you were doing, relationship and other businesses.
Businesses. I had other businesses out.
So you was balling out of control in your 20s.
I wouldn't say balling out of control.
You was balling. You had millions of dollars.
Well, the thing about business, man, even when you got millions of dollars, there's IRS, there's expenses. You know, if I placed an order so one of my products was a date night card game. One order might be $250,000 in order to get the warehouse right. And then you got trucks, you got, warehouse, you got payroll, $70,000 a month. But the biggest thing was...
Hold on, you ain't gonna just throw these numbers. Your payroll was $70,000 a month?
Yeah, man, at its height. It fluctuated depending on who I had on. But if I had a marketing...
I see you, Emmanuel Mod on deck, and good evening to you. Good evening. All right, resume.
Then directed or whatever, it was, about $70,000 a month.
So you was running this like a for real legit business.
It was a for real legit business.
Yeah, you wasn't just sitting up here saying, I'm doing this like a little mom and pop stuff. Just doing. You had, like you said, warehouses.
Yeah, man. Yeah, infrastructure. But I still had to work to make money, and so for me, I was like, I want to be home. I want to be home with my babies, But the first couple years, as they're infants and toddlers, and we sitting there game planning, I'm like, it's gonna look like this, this, and this. I'm gonna have to grind. I'm putting some stuff together so we can have residual money. And then with that, we had this whole plan, basically multiple homes, mama's coming down and moving. And I was like, I don't want to abandon ship from all of that. And of course the pressure and so on. But man, we were breaking down toward the end, man, even in the engagement.
And then what made you press forward?
Exactly what I said, the pressure, the plan, like don't give up on it. Like somehow, some way, we still got to make this work.
And then how'd you recalibrate and say, let's get married?
Honestly, we just went through with the wedding. You kind of riding that high. Her uncles came down. Unfortunately, her dad had passed, so he wasn't there, but that male presence was there on her end. A little bit before that, I had talked to her mom. Me and her mom didn't have the greatest relationship, but she gave me her blessing to marry her daughter. So all of this stuff just felt like it was coming full circle. So on the wedding day, my mama there, my uncle, everybody on both our sides of the family is there. It's beautiful. And it's like, all right, maybe now we can kind of wash away some of the stress that was going into here of planning the wedding and all that and get back to the plan. We're gonna save the world, and we also gonna break generational curses, and we're gonna raise up these beautiful children.
And what happened?
Not that. It was about a good week or two of us having a honeymoon phase, a honeymoon break. But again, I was still, just my experience was, okay, I clearly haven't been perfect. Actually, in the engagement, it was after the counseling session. I went and had lunch with a girl. And that's when I got kind of shook, like, man, you can't go back. And I didn't sleep with her, but I that was cheating. That was totally, wrong or what have you.
So you had lunch. You didn't get a hand job?
No, nothing. Just no, but we had texted and stuff. So I had inappropriate conversations and stuff.
You didn't give a hand job? Wow. Okay. Interesting question. All right, let's get back to it.
That man's mind was in the gutter.
I was like, yeah, he could have asked the question another way, but I have to say he did do a phenomenal job at the interview. So no throwing stones at you. Let's get it.
Like that.
Was it somebody you messed around with in the past?
No, never messed around with her before. But it was a girl I was clearly attracted to, and I knew better than to go and even have lunch with her. And I went, sneaking around and stuff. So
did you have plans to smash? Keep it 100.
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to think back, but you're talking about 2017, 6 years ago. I absolutely would have if we got into the same vicinity. But at that point, I was just in my feelings. And like, man, I just need to get away, be around a female, whatever. But that was in like mid 2017. So cut all that off. Going forward, I may have had conversations with girls at most, but like the worst thing about me is I was still maybe a flirt, maybe responding to something like that. But now that we married, okay, there's no chicks or whatever, we focus, we got this plan, it's 2018, and we're still having a ton of disconnect. We will come together for a little bit and we will be intimate, we will be friends, but we're disconnecting a lot. And this is going into the birth of our son. So again, I'm thinking pregnancy emotions, it's always something. But then on my end, I'm just wearing thin. It's been a year-long engagement, which was, really tough for us both, I'm sure. I know something is wrong. I know I ain't doing everything perfect, but I'm trying. At this point now, I'm just I'm opening up the doors on everything financially. I'm talking about new Range Rover, new this, new that. Then I'm still rubbing feet. I'm still asking how her day was, trying to be emotionally connected, trips out the country, just whatever. Because I'm thinking maybe she doesn't feel invested in, or maybe she don't feel soft life enough. So it would happen for a little bit where we good, and then we would kind of disconnect again. And then baby boy is born. And then now we kind of riding the high of that. So it was a lot of volatile ups and downs, go through the whole year. And now her mom's friend, who claims to be like a prophet, we go and meet with her. And this started the kind of, I call it honestly, a little bit too far, the super religious thing that started happening. And the prophet friend of her mom was like, y'all gonna have a lot to go through and y'all going this, that, and the other. And then she started speaking and I ain't like that. And we kind of clashed about that because it's connected to her mom.
You're going to hear more about it. As I was watching this, I watched it before. Sometimes these in-laws, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, especially mother-in-laws, they need to mind their business. You don't need to be into your children's marriage. Okay? And I think these are all my thoughts and opinions I'm sharing. I think they might have, had problems in their marriage, and let's remember, if you watch the first one, and it's, hey, Crystal, I see you, girl. BG, hugs and kisses to you too, classy. If you watch with Dana, and she said her mother is 15 years older than her. And sometimes when women have, daughters, and at a young age, when they're like 15, those teens, their children is like their buddy, their girl, they hang with. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. Y'all just, listen. Whatever, go from there. All right. Yeah. What Crystal said, yes, in-laws, mind your business. Exactly. Because, Crystal, sometimes when you listen to people, they say their marriage had broke up or they having problems in marriage, it's usually that in-law that just can't seem to mind their business. Okay? I mean, yes. I mean, if we have problems in marriage, we might want to talk to our parents to get a little, a little insight. But sometimes some people, they step too far. They get too involved. Just want to throw it in. But you're going to hear more of this. Let's resume, ladies and gentlemen. All right, relax. Have your cocktail, your crunch and munch, whatever it is, because we're going to be here for a minute. Let's get it.
But this is the first year of the marriage where it's like, man, now we're really, really falling apart.
She said, y'all going to go through a lot of stuff?
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's almost like the Zodiacs. They'd be like, yeah, today you're going to blink. Like this, yeah, it's life. We're going to go through life. You know what I'm saying?
Today you're going to blink.
I just was weirded out by the whole, I didn't understand at that time prophecy, and I believe in it now. I've met totally legitimate.
So when you look back on it, was she right or wrong?
Yeah, she was that about that. Yeah, she was absolutely right. We went through all kind of stuff, absolutely. But for me, it was just a weird dynamic to introduce.
Early on in your marriage, like setting up for doom at the beginning.
And then it started the whole, well, God told me and God said, and I'm like, you my wife, not my pastor.
Oh, she started saying that to you from that relationship?
Yes. And then they formed a little 4-person church, which I had a different name for it at the time.
What name you call it? Cult? 4-person church? A cult. So she was going to this 4-person church. Now she began to prophesy over you. What prophecy?
It didn't get super heavy on that until 2019, the actual prophesying and reading prayers off a piece of paper and stuff like that. But it was 2018. This is when I got the haircut by the girl that I used to deal with whenever we were single. Now, I'm thinking it's okay, and I hope she don't feel no kind of way about me saying this, but we got to be real. At this point, I honestly thought she had transformed, like transgendered over. She wasn't as the same person, okay? Like definitely homeboy. Looking at
the one that cut your hair.
The one that cut my hair.
Okay, all right.
So when I couldn't get people to cut my hair, and this became a big deal. This was like one of the major fallouts before we really started to just plummet. The girl that posted me, I was at her barbershop, but she posted me and put hearts on it or something like that. But at this point, hope she don't get offended. She looked like a boy. And I saw that she looked like a boy. I'm like, oh, it's all good now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People, this is a new age. She a man. She living her truth, his truth, what have you. Nope. Danae found out about it by seeing a story. Danae is one of them passionate people both ways. And it's a beauty when it's a beauty. But she also knows how to hit you where it hurts, what to say to you, how to say it. So she said some stuff, man. And at this point, I'm like, I'm tapped.
He said, Danae knows how to hit you where it hurts. Sound like a little gaslighting going on there. Just my thoughts. Let's get back to it.
Now I'm really tapped.
Did she call you gay?
No, she didn't call me gay.
I thought you said that because of the picture of the girl.
She looked like a street hooper or something like that, man. She just looked like I'm not trying to be messed up.
I know, but I'm saying,
I'm thinking it's cool, but
what did Naya say that was like hitting below the belt?
She's still calling me an F-boy. She's still saying I'm a cheater. And at this point, I'm not cheating. And so again, it's not good enough to do stuff intermittently because ultimately, even when
See, what I have said before. If you're going to accept a person back for cheating or doing you wrong, whatever, and they apologize to you, and in a relationship, in a marriage, or in friendship, any kind of relationship, you need to not throw that back in a person's face. You cannot do that. If you feel you can't get over it, just move on, let the person go. They don't want to hear you thrown in their face. That means you just never, you're never going to trust them again. And that's wrong to do. All right, let's get back to it.
Whenever you look like you're doing something, you making your person relive the same trauma all over again. Me, at that point, I was so heavy into defensiveness. So the moment she called me something, instead of like sitting with that and saying like, what makes you feel like, have you been, like all the stuff that we probably know to do now, at that point, I'm just defending myself. Like, man, I can't do nothing right. All you do is mention what I don't do or what I do wrong. And what it looked like I'm doing wrong. But I done did it and I listened to all this stuff I've been doing and it ain't nothing.
Yep.
So it started that clash because she feeling unheard, I'm feeling unheard. And this is toward the end of the marriage. And this actually preceded the first time that I stepped out in the marriage.
Caregiver coach Pat Bailey, how are you doing today?
You know what, Lateris, I'm really not doing as well as I could today.
Why not?
Because 50% of our families are experiencing some sort of emotional disconnect.
50%? Wow, that's the same statistics for divorce.
You know what makes it so sad? When it becomes to our parents, Ephesians 6:2 tells us we need to do better than this.
So how can we do better?
Well, the first thing we need to understand is you're going to be a caregiver or you're going to be cared for.
Sleep too hot? Sleep too cold?
with the statistics associated with Alzheimer's, 6.5 million people today with Alzheimer's. By 2050, we're talking about 18 million people.
Only talking about 3 times as many.
3 times as many. But there's a process that we need to engage in today.
You got to tell me how.
I want everyone to understand and embrace a 4-phase process.
Okay.
First thing, I recognize we don't have some deniability about the fact that we're aging, but we are. You need to accept your responsibility associated with it. You actually need to now become a discovery agent, researcher on what do I need to do, and then you need to manage that process.
Okay, so please, caregiver coach Pat Bailey, tell us how do we manage that process?
Well, first thing you need to do is you need to connect with me.
Okay.
Yeah, connect with me on social media.
And what's your social media handles?
At caregiver coach Pat Bailey.
I know you got to have a website.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you what, findingnewtomorrows.com will send your free resource guide.
Listen, I thoroughly appreciate all that you said today, and we got to change those statistics.
Today.
And that was what, year 1?
That was right at the end of year 1. It was after a year of engagement with none of that, and then at the end of the year 1 of the marriage.
And did she ever find out about that?
When I confessed it to her.
Oh, you confessed it?
Yeah.
How long after?
This was when we separated up in 2020. So this was maybe a year and some change after.
Is that when she left in 2020 and went back home to her mom?
So yeah, we had, I told her I wanted to separate. So I was saying that year just off and on. It might be 4 or 5 months I'll go without doing nothing. And then we still clashing at this point. I'm in the condo. I think y'all talked about that a little bit.
So you had 2 residents. You balling out of control. You had this big old mansion, and then you had this condo in downtown Atlanta, right?
Yeah, we always had plans of having multiple homes. So at first it was my warehouse, but it was too busy over there. Then I got like Airbnb. It was like $1,000 a night. So we talked about having a condo, and then what it would look like for her to be okay with that. Clearly, it's probably not going to be.
No.
Yeah, and understandably. But the thing we came up with was that she was going to have a key fob so she can get in whenever she wants, unannounced. And when we had a babysitter, we'll go down there.
Now, if you watch the first one with Danae, right? When Danae was on there, and it was talking about the condo. She didn't say it directly, but she kind of insinuated that it was like his player's pad, bachelor pad. And that's what I was getting from it. It wasn't. That, he bring those type of, girls over there. See? It's always good to hear other people's side of the story. See, us humans, we have this problem. We always want to go for the juicy gossip. Sensational, We don't want to go deep and find out there might be more to this story. Always, investigate, find out more about it. But the problem is we so quick to want to hear the first thing that we always want to go by the first thing that we hear. And especially when something you're hearing that doesn't sounds a little off, usually because it is off. There's something wrong with it. I'm just saying. Resume.
But that's going to be our first time having a second residence, whatever. So as time went on, when we clashed, though, I started staying at the condo more because I was already like, again, we working a plan. I'm a grind. I'm setting this and up. It's going to be residual about this year. And so it was like maybe like 3 or 4 months of coming home when we so disconnected. She would either be asleep by the time I got there, or in the time that I was in the shower, she would jump into bed and go to sleep. She was just, again, this was her way of soothing or whatever, but she didn't really talk, and I'm sitting asking whatever, so I'm coming home to her.
This is your husband? Okay, so it seemed like maybe she didn't get over the cheating, I don't know, whatever and stuff. And then when you're going to hear more, she basically said, do you want to cheat? Like she was going to give him the privilege to cheat. You're going to hear more of it. It's just very interesting. He come home and you just act like you sleep. No affection, no nothing. We didn't hear all of this one. And mind you, she's an R victim. Sorry what happened to her, what she said happened to her in college. If you listen to, her story that, what she had when she was on this podcast, and she never got no healing, no therapy or nothing. She never told him, and it was for 5 years they was together. She married this man. See, that's what I'm saying. We have to listen. We have to listen and learn more. Not be so quick to judge. And a lot of people just, these are my thoughts and opinions. A lot of men don't like Derrick Jaxn because, one, he's successful. He's tall, he's dark, he got muscles, he articulates very well, no cursing, no drugs, none of that kind of stuff, and dress well. And he has an audience of a bunch of women that listens to him, right? So a lot of men that get jealous, so they hate on him, like, oh, he's paying women. So he might have been doing some of that, I have to say, whatever. Like I said, with all these tubes, I just listen, get bits and pieces where I see value in, but I don't look at them as like, they God. What their word says is written in stone. No. And nobody should do that for any content creator. Anybody but God. Right? And women, a lot of women are like, don't like him and just hating on him because of the fact is it's that type of guy sometimes that they want it. And that, these type of guys that never paid them no attention. So they mad, they angry. You got to stop with the hate and the jealousy. It's just so sad. It's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic. But let's get back to it. Oh, another thing too. And I have to be careful what I like kind of say, whatever. Because you have people say, oh, Donna, you just all for him gaga because he got the muscles and he's tall and he's dark. Yeah, really? No, that's not how Donna rolls. If you don't know, it's really not my type. But I do like his commentary. And I did watch his commentary because I like the stuff that he's preaching. And I'm going to show you one of his videos. And you're going to tell me, is he talking facts or not? Another thing people are jealous of, he was making money. And that happens a lot on this social media, on YouTube. When they see you becoming successful as a tuber, you're making money, audience is listening to you, they coming in, they sending you super chats or PayPals and stuff. People will start to hate on you. They're going to start, want to try to sabotage you. Remember, success breeds haters. Resume. Ooh, Melvie, I see you creeping through the back door, girl. And I see you, Celine. Let's get it.
Rejected, I just stopped coming. Now I wasn't immediately going to go cheat, but I'm like, I would just rather stay at the condo instead of coming home and being reminded that I'm despicable. And that lasted I would say about 7-8 months before I started back tripping out, before I started back, stepping out and stuff.
So what you did, you said, so the first time towards the end of about December of the first year, and then you cheat, then you come back, confess, and then...
No, I didn't confess. So that time...
You confessed towards when y'all...
After we really fell out. So...
In 2020.
Yeah. So in that time, in 2019, mid-2019, so I started tripping out. I'm like, this is definitely over. I can't do this.
Anyone can boost their hearing almost overnight with a simple...
I remember feeling like one thing they don't really...
First of all, y'all got married what year? 2019?
Beginning of 2018.
Y'all got married beginning of 2018.
January 13th.
So that means the end of 2018, that's when you cheated.
Yep, for the first time.
And then 2019 came around.
2019, it's like, oh, get back on track. Just, bygones, forget about it. Never happened. And then it was about 7-8 months in where we still was having the same type of clashes. And even though I wasn't doing anything, it's like, man, I can't be around her. I can't, I need my peace.
But it wasn't the same. Was it the same woman that you would go back to, or you went back to your old ways?
Because I didn't want basically old ways. So my whole thing, and it's crazy.
You about to say if you had sex with the same person over and over again,
it's going to build up something.
It's going to build up something. So you want to make it where it's multiple people, so it's not so meaningful.
Which is wild even thinking about the justifications and exceptions. Like, well, this ain't so bad because I ain't letting them fall in love. It's not a relationship. It's just something physical or whatever. But that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, it's real.
That's exactly what I was like. And man, don't let it go too far with one. And then you had to mix that, like, I ain't saying you got to, but I was mixing that in with, all right, man, stop. Just like, all right, I got it off. I got that out my system.
Let's start back over clean.
Get back in. And then we'll go a good couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, and we clash again.
What's interesting is that y'all never completed the counseling sessions that y'all had for premarital counseling, and those same issues didn't do nothing but follow you into the marriage.
Absolutely.
And so now we see the clash of the titans take place in 2020, where she said that she left.
Mm-hmm.
And she left and no notice. You basically come home, your family gone.
Something like that. So what happened was I was like, enough of this cheating stuff. I'm done again. This time I'm going back in. If it don't work, it don't work. This was in like end of December of 2019, actually. I think the January 1st, 2nd, something like that. And I burnt every bridge that I had.
What is looking like burning bridges? What is
burning bridges? Is like, I don't want to continue this any further.
I mean, do you say that to the women?
Yes.
So you have a conversation and say,
I'd send a text. I was sending a text.
All right, you'll send a text.
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't finna mess around with you no more.
I don't want to mislead you. I don't see this going any further. We're done. Don't expect to hear from me. That kind of thing.
And I'm tapping back into my wife, or do you say?
I wouldn't even say that. I think at that time for those messages, I just was saying like, we done. But they knew what it was. They knew I was on the outs. We were estranged. We were in different all these things.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can give my girl Melvie a brief description. Okay, Derrick Jaxn is a social media influencer. And he also has other businesses on the side or whatever. And on YouTube, Instagram, whatever and ever. And he gives relationship, dating advice to women, basically more geared to women. And he's been doing this for years. He have a lot of followers, a lot of women listen to him. He made a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. And he's married to a woman by the name of Donna. Donna is this woman right here. Let me show you a picture of her. This is Donna. He's married to her, but they currently going through a divorce. He filed for divorce. We're going to hear why in a second. And there was a social media influencer by the name of Tasha K who exposed him for cheating, saying he has all these women and blah, 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 and he brought the women, which Danae already knew about because he confided to her. I guess he told her about it. But for whatever reason Tasha K had, Tasha K didn't expose Derrick Jaxn in a way of, I care about other women listening to him, or I care about his wife or whatever. She just did that for her own personal reasons. We don't know whatever, but you get the idea what she did to Carly B. and went to court and basically Carly B won. So we don't get all into that one, right? So, but Dana that you see right here, Dana has came on to my Dear Future Wifey podcast and told her side story. But now Derrick Jaxn, he's come here telling the side story. And when he was exposed for all this cheating and stuff, it was just such a big mess on social media. Everybody was like, oh, they was, insulting Derrick Jaxn, but you have a lot of men that was already hating on him before. And then you have some women that's just jealous because they can't get a man like that, whatever the situation is, right? But I'm not saying that he's perfect. There's no content creator out here perfect. There's nobody out here perfect but God. All right, let's get back to it.
So none of them really gave me too much flack about it at that time. But for me, I'm like, I'm dipping in out of giving myself excuses. So sometimes I do, and sometimes I feel guilty. I feel like the hypocrite I was being. I feel like, man, I'm leading people, I'm preaching, and I'm counseling, whatever, but I'm not living it.
Right.
And so I would, the resentment had me feeling like, well, in this situation, it's different because I feel like this. I done rolled out the red carpet. I done been everything she asked me to be and more. And it's been spat on. That's just resentment talking and having you thinking that, oh, it's cool because.
Yeah,
but then,
justified.
But then that truth really hits you at some point when you talking about it and somebody say something like, I'm glad there are men like you in the world.
And then that conviction hit.
Honestly, bro, I ain't even that kind of man in the world.
How did it feel? She said one day she called you out, and this was early on before y'all got married. She said, do you even believe the stuff that you say?
Yeah, this was back in North Carolina.
Right.
I felt like I understood what she was saying, but I was like, why is this the first time you referencing my career? Because, okay, I didn't just talk about don't cheat. A lot of my stuff was about, leave thoughtful gifts, write poems, write love letters, let her know how you feel, all these different efforts, sacrifice, breakfast in bed. These are things I all did. And I was like, why is it that stuff is obsolete? And the only thing that exists to you is the time I've now come up short. That's whenever you ask me about this stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, of course, that is.
And listen, I think he did try his best and everything in this marriage relationship to make it work, especially when they got married. So she was, pregnant, she was having a baby, and he proposed to her, right? And then they got married. And I think he did try everything to please her. Listen to it. You're going to listen to what he says. And there are some men out here that do that. Not some. There's a lot of men out here that do that.
Yeah.
That do everything. Yeah, I need to rephrase. Not some. A lot.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts.
Above and beyond.
Yeah, that will go
above and beyond. Even though only time I disagree with him is, he didn't practice what he preached. That's the only disagreement I have with him. Otherwise, the man went above and beyond for this lady. And I'll let you play the tape.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to get to that part. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll hold my thought too. Let's get it.
An eraser. If I gave you a car, gave you Birkin bags, if I bought you Chanel shoes and all this type of stuff, but matter. I can't be faithful. She's like, I don't give a damn. You keep all this nonsense. Right, I want you to what's free is fidelity. Yeah. Give me that.
Absolutely. And at that time, I'm not thinking like that.
Of course.
I'm measuring myself not just by I eventually was unfaithful. I'm measuring myself by the times that I went to sleep with her in that bed knowing I wasn't going to get none, and she turning over for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it now, understanding.
Of
But
course.
exactly what you said, sometimes the good ain't worth it, depending on what bad it is.
When did she, and we go back to that, when did she actually tell you that, hey, I had been through this sexual assault early on, a couple of weeks before we met?
This was in Greenville. So I didn't get the full scope for years. I didn't know the timeline. She had just...
Let me see this, BJ. I don't like what Tasha K did, but I don't understand why he was out in public taking pictures with his random.
That's a good one.
If I'm trying to figure out the time period you're talking about. If you're talking about BG at the time after he was exposed with that other woman, I should brought a picture. If you're talking about after he was exposed, he was taking a picture with the woman, because if that's what you're talking about, he's going to explain this in the video. And I'm glad he did, because that one right there, I was like, whoa, Derrick.
I think it's the after. I think
okay.
it's after.
If it's after BG talking about just hanging in, girl, you're going to get your answer to that one. Oh, yes, you are. All right, let's get back to it. And yeah, that's their business. But Tasha K had her own hidden agenda. But, oh well. Let's just get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let me read the poll, since I paused for a second. Let's read the poll here. We got 9 votes, ladies and gentlemen, so far. And I'll read it again later. Do you think Derrick Jaxn is being honest with his side? No way, Donna. 0%. 44% says yes, I feel he is. 44% says, not sure. 11% says, I can't stand this man. Woo, boy. All right, let's get back to it.
It's probably the dudes that said, I can't stand this man.
We don't know. I mean, everybody have their opinions and their thoughts. Because at one point, I look, you remember Jack. You and I have discussions about this. And at first, I've never had no pom-poms for no Derrick Jaxn. I had no pom-poms for nobody on the social media. But I was like, I like his commentary. I was like, there's a little bit more to this. And then you were saying, certain things. And I was saying that we seen things a little bit more differently. So some people, like I said, some people don't really want to dig in to find out more. And they're not even watching this. Jack, they're not watching this. It's not trending. Everybody was doing commentary, Jack, when Danae was on there. Everybody was doing commentary on this one. But this one here, no, nobody want to hear this side to find out what's happening. Oh, well.
Because in a way, they have to make apology videos while simultaneously doing commentary.
Oh, that's right. Just like that big giant that killed that woman, his wife and the girlfriend, remember? And everybody was out here. Well, I'm not going to get into that one. All right, let's resume. And like Emmanuel said, like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to share your opinions in the poll. Thank you, Emmanuel. Resume.
She told me, okay, it was this person and it was before you that I got raped or what have you. And that was in North Carolina. So that had to be like 5-6 years in. So that was the first time
she said just kind of just said it real quick and just went on about business.
Well, it was kind of like in the middle of some type of conversation, some things we hadn't told each other, she revealed that. And I was like, I don't even know how to handle that. I don't think either of us knew just how much it affected her.
Of course.
Or our sexual relationship. Because every time, I think anyway, that we was having sex, I think it kind of re-traumatized her.
Yep.
Because especially, not to get graphic, the type of, affection I show and the way I move in that bedroom. And then on top of that, the porn saying, this is intimacy.
See, that's his love language of how he shows affection to a woman. He didn't know anything that she was a victim. And she was a victim of it. And I believe it happened when she said in her story, what was it, about a month before she met him, that she was, armed by a guy?
No,
and then she met. Oh, it was 2 months? Okay. It was like 2 months before. And then she met Derrick Jaxn. So he don't have a clue he's with a woman that's been traumatized.
Yeah, he didn't know he was going pound town and not knowing that he should have taken it easy, but he didn't know that.
He didn't know.
She didn't tell him.
She didn't tell him. She didn't tell him. And she never went to go get therapy or nothing on the side to help. I mean, certain things, it's late. That's very traumatizing. Maybe we don't want to share it, but she didn't. What she said in the video, I'm going by what she's saying. She never went to go and get some help to find out on the side. It wasn't until later when it all came out. But you'll hear the rest. You'll hear the rest. Let's get it.
Yep. So I didn't know what she was going through in sex, after sex with me, and because of what she had gone through before. And it was always expressed in different ways. But I mean, it was me trying to piece it together like, oh, this is why I get the type of anger and rage that probably was meant for such and such, but is now coming towards me.
That's real. When did she reveal like the next layer of it? You said she give you a piece here, and then when did it finally hit you like, wow, this is connecting the dots of all this?
So after our the separation in February of 2020, when I woke up and the family was gone, I had been asking about seeing the kids and how could we work that out, and she jetted. We went up and down of whether or not we was gonna make the marriage work. We was gonna try to anyway. And so one of those efforts later on was with a trauma recovery specialist or something like that. I think she mentioned her before, Dr. Smith.
She said she had all kind of counselors and therapists.
Yeah, we went through quite a few, but that was whenever she dealt, because she knew she had the competence to really deal with that.
Right.
And it was, again, permeating. So, of course, what's gotten sensationalized is my part and all the things that I did, but we were dealing with the twofold issues before there was any infidelity. And part of it was how she showed up in conflict. That's when we went in deep, and then the therapist was steady helping me become an ally to her, because I was like, I don't want to traumatize her. Like, this is still a woman I love. I want to make it work and stuff, but how do I help her if I can help her heal? And it meant like certain exercises.
Are you listening to what he says? This is a man that was in love with her. Because why I say that? Excuse me, no offense to the gentleman. No offense. But y'all don't really want to go to counseling. Men don't want to sit there and discuss their personal business about what's going on in their relationship and their marriage to another person. And for him to humble himself to do that, to save his marriage, to make it work, that's a sign right there. He loves her. Mm-hmm. Yep, bye. Let's get back to it.
To get her comfortable with my touch, knowing that I was safe, I was different. So that was it, man. I was saying about the summer, maybe like May of 2020.
Yeah.
To put it all together, it was a couple of months into the separation.
And so when y'all were separated, y'all were still working towards helping the relationship.
Here and there. So, any little argument or whatever could cause her to ghost. There was a couple of times I just, I honestly thought it was over a few times, but I would try to keep in contact with the kids, and she may ghost me for a week or two, and I can't talk to nobody. But most of that we were up until I would say about May or June. And then that was whenever it was like, we're getting divorce lawyers. She's basically letting me know it's over with. I don't care what you do. And yeah.
During that time when she left, did you find that as an opportunity to say, okay, she gone. I don't know what happened to this marriage anyway. Were you like, finna wild out again? I'm single now.
The only time when I started wilding out was when my birthday came in July. Before that, I was just flying up there. I probably
so you tell me during that time she's gone. Now you want to be faithful,
right? So right? No, exactly. Now that she's gone, now I want to prove myself. But the thing was, again, I gave my life to Christ in February, and I was trying my best to walk this straight line. This was before she left, before she knew anything. I was in my truck and I had a conversation with God, like, I got away from you. Earlier in my years, I was with you, and now look at how things have turned out. So now I'm walking a separate walk from her. We walk in this thing for marriage, but I'm personally trying to be aligned. Clearly I'm not good at this, whatever. So in this time, I'm just whatever it takes to close the gap. If she's not wanting to talk to me this week or what have you, let me be with the kids, because they were begging for me, especially Marley. I would hear Marley crying for me, and she would ask me, when I'm going to see you again? Honestly, we all at the mercy of your mama's. I ain't say this, but I was like thinking to myself, we all at the mercy of your mama's anger with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to soothe her. I was just trying to be close.
Live streaming can be tricky, and sometimes
that's what I was the whole summer. And if everybody else on pandemic, I'm flying. I probably spent like $20,000, $30,000 just in that time between flights, Airbnbs, and everything else.
She wouldn't let you come stay with, no, she was with her mom.
She wouldn't even tell me where and her mom.
He spent all that money flying back and forth. He's trying to save his marriage. You got these dusties and knuckleheads out here. They'll do that traveling just to beat your butt or try to end your life, if you know what I'm talking about. No, he was trying to save his marriage, and he wanted to be around his kids. And that was something that was really important to him about being a certain father to his kid, because what his father, did to him when he was little. Yep. Let's get back to it.
She told me her mama told her not to talk to you, not to.
Her mama was so heavily involved in our marriage, in our restoration. The counselors, the pastors all said, y'all can't make this work if she's involved.
Yeah.
She was in the counseling session with her, like marriage counseling session with her. And I understand.
With y'all?
Yes. When we came back, one, she was in the session beforehand. She was Danae would have personal sessions with the therapist. And then we got back joint with the same therapist. She said, why is your mother in the same room as your counseling? Do you not have a boundary with your mother? Why is she in there? That was the first time. And then after that, when we was going to reconcile, we came together.
Good question. Why is the mother-in-law in the counseling? Oh, I forgot she's only 15 years older than Danae, right? Why is she there?
Probably trying to get close to Derrick.
You never know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that it's sad that you got some of these that have these parents that are overbearing and want to like helicopter, and when they get in a relationship and get married, and they're trying to dictate, just like the Kardashian family. I mean, it ain't no different. You don't think Kris Jenner controls Kim, controls Courtney, controls Khloe, controls the Jenner kids? She controls that. She gets involved. Deeply involved. That's probably the reason why Kim and Kanye got divorced.
Could be. And you do have some parents that's like that, to be all up in the marriage. But especially when it's a young mother who has a kid as a teen and they have children, they look at their kids as like, their little sister, their friend, or whatever. They going in the club with them, sharing each other's clothes. Well, them not even go there so much, but mother and daughters do that. But I'm talking about those type of clothes. Hanging out with them, double date, mess with a man, and it's kind of sick. Really is twisted.
They had a reality show on TLC talking about these questionable behavior relationships with mom and daughter.
You did?
Yeah, I did. It was a mom and daughter that was sharing porn tapes.
Yep. That was crazy. That was insane. I remember that story you covered. Oh, yes. And that happens a lot as we speaking, Jack. Happens a lot. All right, let's resume. And everybody, feel free to share your thoughts. People's watching replay, share your thoughts. You might not agree with me with the things I'm saying. Hey, I'm open-minded to listen. Just be respectful. That's all I ask for. Or if you want to email me on the side, you can find the email in my description and we can discuss it. Because you might see something that I don't see. I'm always open to hear things, but when people's rude or being disrespectful or loud about it, I just shut you down. I don't want to listen. I ain't got time for that one. Let's resume.
With our pastor, because we had the same pastor, and we sat down. Her mom came and sat in on our family restoration session or what have you. I understand to a degree, though, because she's seen her daughter go through so much. Any parent, I'm sure myself, it would be like, nah, whatever it takes. I don't care what rules I'm breaking. Don't tell me no Bible verses. I'm here to make sure my baby is good. But she was as much as part.
Now, I'll step in if you're putting your hands on my child. Then that's a whole nother story. But there's no abuse in here. There's no physical abuse. Resume.
Part of the marriage as me and Danae were, probably even more.
Well, you said she's sitting in the council. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy.
Was there any type of abuse that would allow her to want to step?
Not abuse, man. No physical abuse. If you consider cheating abuse, then yeah, especially emotional, it definitely caused trauma. But nothing where she was like in danger. Her and her mom, this is just my belief, have a weird relationship. It's more like girlfriends because they're only like 15 years apart, 16 years apart. But her mother from day one didn't like me. And I think whenever I hurt the nigga, it's like, oh, see, I was right.
Yeah, confirmation.
And so that's an all access pass to stay in the relationship no matter what. My belief was I've done my wrong, but we as adults, we're 30 something years old, we're not children. And we have professionals that are involved.
Right.
We have godly counsel that's involved. And we've both professed our lives to be, you know, Jesus. Like, you know, we Jesus our Lord and Savior. So this is we going by this construct now. It's time for mom to get some healthy separation.
Which is leaving and cleaving.
Leaving and cleaving. So love on, you know, I'm talking to Danae because honestly, she's the gatekeeper. But to that.
Okay, let me flip the script on this one. And you have some ladies, y'all might have dealt with it or know somebody who dealt with it. You have some men that you're involved with, and you got these mothers that's all in the relationship. And that's annoying. So let's not go there. Got the mothers with their sons. Oh, that's their boy. He don't do no wrong. Annoying. Need to mind your business. Resume.
Point. Yes, she was with her mom. Her mom would often speak over her while we were on the phone. All kinds of stuff. And then, you know, that's one of those things that I still got to work on my heart. Because
I can say, when I mentioned that, your whole... I said, is he finna cry or he finna get mad?
Well, I try, man, look, I'm not trying to stir up nothing because, again, I get her mother's MO.
Participation, the reason why.
I get it, man.
It was to be protective.
But then sometimes and then I was right, you know, and that's the kind of thing that's going on. But to your point, the entire time we were trying to restore, all the way from February, March. Now we done flew over to churches. There's a lot that's going on.
She said that she gave you some homework assignment. She was like, I want to see you get stronger with you know, build your relationship with God, get some accountability around you, be more present in your kids' life because you know, like most men, they get to working and doing all this type of stuff. That she said she wants you to be more intentional on spending time with your kids. And I think there's one other thing. Are those true? Those three things.
To a degree, it wasn't to spend time with the kids, and then we kind of had a little back and forth about that because I love spending time with the kids. If they're ever around us, you'll see they gravitate towards me because I love my kids, and that was the whole plan, is to get back to where we can both be in. But yes, for a time, I'm gonna be away from the house most of the day. So I had about an hour or two per day of quality time that I could do, and on the weekends a little bit more. But what I understood what she was saying, because I don't want to speak for her, was her saying, I want you to do some of the things with the kids, like wake them up, get them to school, pick them up.
The daily task.
And we had a little bit of a beef about that. Cause I'm like, hold on.
You work from home. I mean, I guess she was working, but she was a stay-at-home wife, but then she would help you on some back-end stuff. You saying, that's your role. You got the time for it. Let me go hunt.
It was a plan. Yeah. And the plan wasn't just that she'd be because that's a hard job.
Yeah.
You know, 2 young kids, 2 under 2. But I had already invested in the private school, $2,500 a month. So 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
For some 2-year-olds?
Two. At this point, I think one was just turned 3. Molly just turned 3, and DJ was 1.5, going on 2.
You had some little kids in private school?
In private school, there was a little Goddard school down there because it was too young for pre-K. So it was a daycare, but it was a private school. They had a curriculum and everything else.
So they would go there Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day.
This is what we're listening to a provider man. So he's paying all this money for them to go to school, you know, at the young age or preschool or whatever, while she's able to be at home, paying all this money. He's paying all this money. Monday through Friday, the kids are there for 8 hours. What is she doing? He's doing a lot. I will say it. I think that Danae, honey, you took this man for granted. These are my thoughts and opinions. Resume.
8 hours a day.
What was Danae doing then?
So this was our conversation where we clashed on exactly what all she was doing. Because then we had babysitters. So she had raised some of these issues like, hey, the house is too big to clean. You know, I'm really exhausted with the kids every day. So I already had said, okay, I understand. All I need you to do is tell me. So I made the investment for private school, for the sitter, for the cleaning service to come twice a week.
I hope y'all listening and following me. If not, I can understand. Maybe you don't see what I'm saying and stuff, and the stuff that I always preach on my channel. So he's making it comfortable for his wife to make sure she's good. When you're in a relationship with a man, and when a man really cares about women, he's going to invest in a woman. He's going to spend time with the woman. He's going to make sure she's good all the time because you are his woman. He loves you. He cares about you. He's a provider. He's a protector, right? She had his kids. He's paying all this money to put her in this school, the kids in the school, Monday through Friday, 8 hours. Mm-hmm. Oh, the house is so big. It's too much to clean. Wow. He gave you a big house. Too much to clean. Okay, babe, what you want? I'll get you a maid. And a babysitter. She's not working. And she doesn't even appreciate it. See, this is what I'm talking about. I guess she appreciate, the ones, these dusty type of dudes that ain't gonna give you nothing. And they be like, yo, babe, what, you got any money? Sitting around, smoking weed, playing PlayStation. That kind of stuff. Maybe that'd have been more satisfying to her. I'm just saying. Big house? Wow. Okay, let's get back to it. I don't know. Everybody, y'all might, don't agree with me. But hey, if you don't, share your thoughts. Let me know. You might see something I don't see. Let's get back to it.
And whenever she had these demands, I'm like, look, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get back in your good graces, whatever, but I also want to be reasonable. If I'm working, paying every bill, you don't have to touch anything or whatever, and that includes the fun stuff, and investing in this soft life thing, what are you going to be doing? That's what I asked. Because by this time, she's not working with the company anymore, actually. She wasn't working anymore. She had been said, I want to do my own thing. So I was like, whatever you want to do, I'll invest in. I want to support you. So I'm like, you're not working in the business.
So what did she do? She had a clothing shop or something?
Nothing at all at this point. She had talked about real estate, and I paid for whatever it took for that, but she didn't really pursue it. I think at this point, she actually started doing the travel thing with her mom. And so, I helped what I could with that.
What travel thing? Is it a travel agency?
She had a travel agency with her mom. Her mom and her had their own business, what have you. So yeah, that was our clash. And I'm like, I don't think this is helpful, and I don't think this is sustainable. Because
her and her mom had a business, the traveling business. You see what I'm saying? This mom was too much into this relationship. This way too much. Way too much. Her and her mom had a business together. Mm-hmm. All right, what's something Lovely said? Oh my gosh, where are you, girl? Oh, I got it right here. It sounded like she was living in luxury. Yeah, she had it pretty good. I mean, he's doing the things that these good men do, and she didn't appreciate it. Nope, she didn't appreciate it. He's paying all this money for the kids to go to the school at that age. I mean, really, they should be home. If she's going to be at home, you teach your kids at home until they ready to go to school to preschool, elementary school and stuff like that. But they was there Monday through Friday, 8 hours. Oh, the house is too big. It's too much to clean. Okay, babe, I'll get you cleaning service and a babysitter. Really? Wow. Well, she'll be feeling it now while he's gone. Reason.
Because I'm not with this. I'm going to pay for everything and but then still get up in the morning, get the kids or whatever. I want to spend time with my children, but not take on responsibilities because at the end of the day, we still got work to do. So I forget where we was at with it, but that was what we had to clash. Her list of homework included some things that we didn't necessarily agree on. But I didn't need her to tell me to get closer to. I was trying to pursue God at this point for myself. And I think it helped that she saw a lot of that initiative on my own. Because one of the pastors that she watches on TV, and then I ended up popping up with
That's what she said. She said she was watching YouTube or watching something. You popped up down there at the altar in the service or something.
Yeah, I didn't leave him alone. Because
she said you was like, I'm finna start following this minister around. That's what you started doing?
Something to that degree. We developed a rapport. So she didn't mention, I didn't watch the whole thing, by the way, so I could be wrong, but there was a space before we separated where she got really infatuated with demons. And she didn't just say, I needed deliverance either. She said, the Lord God is taking over my vessel. You're going to die, go broke, and all these other things.
She said, you are?
Yes. Now, later on, she said, well, I was speaking to the demonic spirit.
In you?
Yes. And this is an interesting dynamic for anybody with their spouse to talk about you speaking to. So anyway, I started looking into it and I realized, oh no, demonic influence is very real.
Right.
But I don't know nothing about it. I grew up in a very traditional church. We didn't talk too much about that. You know, we understand we don't war against flesh, but of course the spirit and all this stuff. But this goes a different level.
Lovely says he was invested in her business, whatever she wanted to do with her career. And Lovely, you have some men that will discourage you for having a career, for wanting to do something. They're like, nope, no. Lovejoy said something. Let me see what Lovejoy has to say. Lovejoy says, yes, Donna, I agree with you. He was taking care of her and their family. Another thing I think is her mama being so involved may have caused problems in their marriage. Yeah. Lovejoy, I think you're feeling what I'm feeling here. As I'm hearing more of this, yeah. She wasn't no help. She damaged. But I'm going to get my closing thoughts at the end of this one. But I'm glad that you seen that too. All right. Ooh. There was something I was supposed to show here. All right. I'm going to, all right, let me finish it. But I'm going to take a pause because I want to show you a video of Donna. Yes, I am. All right, let's get back to it.
Level, like demon spirits, the name of this demon, so on. And there was one pastor, she introduced me to him, that knew about this stuff. So I went and found him. And we also had some stuff where she wouldn't let me see the kids because my demons is making them. And I'm like, so why is it everybody else got demons but you? And I would have these conversations like, why everybody else influenced but you? And
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a quick pause here for a second. It's going to be a little silent because I'm going to switch to another video. But I'm going to go back to this one. We're going to hear about her talking about these demons, okay? We're going to have to get into that one. Yeah. Have to. Let's, it's going to be silent for just a second. Don't go nowhere. Let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember this famous video? And I actually supported her with this video, but as I'm learning more, all right, let's just watch this little quick video. It's under a minute.
Every person speaking against the names Donna Jackson and Derrick Jaxn in mockery, accusations, slanders, and lies, may the mercies of God be withdrawn from you. May your husbands and wives become widows. Let your children become fatherless. Let your seed become vagabonds on the earth. Let the words of your mouth and your words of your hands be returned back to you. Let it go down your throat and choke you slowly until your days become few on the earth. The word of God says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. You've been warned. And if you want to know where that is at in the Bible, go to Psalm 109. Go to Psalm 35, go to Psalm 140, go to Psalm 141, and keep our names out of your mouth in the name of Jesus. Have a blessed day. Every person speaking against the names Donna Jackson and Derrick Jaxn in mockery, accusations, slanders, and lies, may the mercies of God be withdrawn from you. May your husbands and wives become widows. Let your children become fatherless. Let your seed become vagabonds on the earth. Let the words of your mouth and your words of your hands be returned back to you. Let it go down your throat and choke you slowly until your days become few on the earth. The word of God says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. You've been warned. And if you want to know where that is at in the Bible, go to Psalm 109. Go to Psalm 35, go to Psalm 140, go to Psalm 141, and keep our names out of your mouth in the name of Jesus. Have a blessed day.
Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witness.
Yeah, this is a woman of God. She's cursing us, right?
Jehovah Witness.
She's cursing us. She's cursing us.
Jehovah Witness.
All right, that was an interesting video. We're gonna get back to the other one. Yeah, we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna go back to
get some teeth whitening.
Ooh, they do match her complexion. I didn't even peep that. Okay, let's get back to it. Well, it's gonna be silent for a second. I have to switch over, ladies and gentlemen. Why would you say this to people? Exactly. And I have to confess, lovely. When it first happened, I was like, this woman is hurt because of, what he did and everything came out. But now that I'm hearing more of the story, oh, this is different why she's saying this. Yep. All right, just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen, because I have to change screens again.
Then we had this fight now where I felt like she asserted herself as my spiritual authority or my superior. She's so pure and angelic and God's first cousin. But then me, I'm just Lucifer's baby boy. I'm getting clarity from this pastor because now I've watched enough of his stuff or whatever.
You trust
met him and he took to me and he was able to tell me some stuff that validated that he was indeed a man of God and whatever. And he took to me and was like, I could see your heart or what have you. And I was like, look, I want to serve you any way I can. I want to be a part of the ministry or what have you. So that's what started. I didn't just follow him. We was talking. He was kind of mentoring me. He became my spiritual father.
And so did anybody else confirm? Was there some deliverance service where maybe that pastor and a couple of other apostles or something linked around you and cast the demon out of you?
They cast, like I did go up there to the front and I got the deliverance and all that stuff, but it wasn't like necessarily what she was saying. It was when we all discussed it together, because now he's a friend of the marriage. He wants to help us. And when he was like, Donnell, you may be seeing some stuff like a spirit wife or something like that. He's like, that's absolutely true because he's out here smashing and dashing or whatever.
Right.
But some.
I had to pause what BG said. Can't wait to see what her new guy will do for her. BG, we thinking the same thing. Good luck, honey. Oh, and by the way, you have 3 kids. What guy's going to take on 3 kids like that? And do all of this that he's doing? Good luck. Resume.
Some stuff you're getting, you have to be brought up and taught how to interpret it. So Donnell was actually, I think anyway, very well-meaning because she wanted to protect her family. At one point in time, she was trying to protect me, praying over me. Before we separated, I had woke up one day and she had her hand on me and she was praying over me. So it was like sometimes it came from this pompous place of, throwing the book at me and judgmental and so on. But at times it came from a very nurturing and protective place. So he confirmed we both needed deliverance. And even because of her mom's involvement, that she needed deliverance right along with us in order for everything to come back together.
What happened to where now, what transpired for her to move back from, where was she in Denver? Where was the family
She
from?
was living in Denver.
And what made her transition and say, okay, let's, reconnect with my husband and let's try to make this work and move back to Atlanta?
So that pastor had, this was after my birthday and I've been wilding out and stuck. I'm like, it's over with. Honestly, felt so empty, man. And I cut everything off before I even knew if I would have a chance with her. But at this point I had started rebelling against God. Because I'm like, God,
July.
This was in July. February 4th, I gave my life to Christ in the truck. And it's like, all right, tomorrow, it was for different reasons. I didn't want to go back home before that, but I was like, tomorrow I'm coming back home and we're going to make this work. We're going to thug this out the God way.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I came back to she was gone. I was like, the day after I gave my life to Christ, things started going here. and I blamed him.
Mm-hmm.
I went through some rebellion all over again, man. Screw this, F it. So anyway, that was the end of July. I was like empty. I'm like, man, I done rented out yacht.
Lovejoy, you pointed out something, and I forgot all about that. That is why she's out here charging all the money for coaching. Because the price, because she was on the My Wifey podcast. She was there first, and she told her side of the story, and was talking about this coaching. Mm-hmm. And the money that she wants to charge, Lovejoy. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Oh well. Interesting. Let's get back to it. I'm glad you point that out. All right, let's get back to it.
And I done did all this money spending and these random girls I'm kicking it with. I don't even know them or like them.
So
just being real, like I don't even like you, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, go on somewhere, man. And before she said anything, I again burnt the bridges. I'm so off and on. But August comes around, I think it was August, and my spiritual father was going to have another event. I had stopped kind of being around him for a little bit while I was in that stage. But I was like, I need to go over there.
So that stage was just the month of July?
I would say June into July.
Okay.
Yeah.
So February, she
July.
leaves February, right? February, you give your life to Christ. The next day she leaves. You start trying to get your feet in Christ. You find that once you connect with the spiritual
I went head first into it, man. I made friends with pastors. Willie Moore Jr. I reached out to him as a man of God, and I was like, man, what group are you a part of where y'all stay on the straight and narrow?
Yeah.
And they didn't know anything about any of this.
Yeah.
I was pursuing this. I'm like, I don't want to mess this up again, So anyway, what was the question again?
So you started working towards that.
And then
July, you said what?
Because we were discussing my birthday, and she was like, I'm not seeing you for your birthday. And I was like, abandonment still hurt.
Yeah.
I ain't healed nothing to do with abandonment wound at this point. So I was like, my birthday? I was like, can I at least see my babies? You know what I'm saying? Can I do that? Well, I'm taking them to a church event. I was so beside myself. So anyway.
So he wanted to spend his birthday with her, but he couldn't get that. Can at least be with just the kids. You have some men out here. They out there running all over. It's my birthday. I'm getting turned up. Had me a good time. That's not what he wanted to do. Reason.
We definitely knew the relationship is over. We got a child custody agreement in place, all this stuff. I had my rendezvous. Then after that, cut everything off. My spiritual father was going to have an event. She happened to be at the event.
Oh, really?
This was actually down here in Dallas. He was going to have it at the Marriott. He's going to have like a 3-day event or something like that. I was like, I want another chance with my family, but I don't know. It's just too much. But I brought a picture to put it on the altar and pray and everything else. Her mama came with her and brought the kids. And we had not at this point talked in like 2 weeks.
So it was the first time you seen your wife at church with your kids?
In a minute. Yeah, no, we had seen each other throughout the summer, but this time.
No, I'm talking about, you said for 2 weeks.
There was a couple of weeks. We had discussed me seeing the children because I kept trying to just keep some closeness with them. I went up to Denver to see them. And from that point, she ghosted me. She stopped answering. I was up in Denver for like 5 or 6 days. She wouldn't answer or nothing like that. And like a week and a half later, we was at the church at the same time.
And you looking up like, wow, there go my wife and kids.
I broke down, really seeing the kids. Because I was like, at this point, I'm wanting another chance, but I'm also understanding. And she's kind of beat me up at this point. So I'm like, whatever on that to a degree, but I really, really miss my babies. So they ran into my knees and I'm like, man, like maybe. And so he had the sermon. Afterwards, he offered to see families that were trying to restore. And that's whenever we had the session. Her mom came in and sat right down with her as we had our family session. And at some point, the pastor said, why is mom here?
And then, so they came visit. You weren't living in the DFW Metroplex at this time?
No. Neither one of us were. But basically, that was the point where we said, we're going to try again. That's whenever, in that conversation.
Did her mom co-sign on that at that time?
She just kept listening and nodding along and stuff like that. So I don't know the conversation with her mom, but I guess she did. I don't know.
And then y'all decide to let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
And decide to what? Move to Dallas?
First month is I'm going to spend up there because she wasn't ready to part from her mom yet. So I got another Airbnb for 30 days.
Dang.
And then we moved down to Dallas together. And we moved to another Airbnb while we found a place. And we started the restoration. And this is where, honestly, bro, the whole thing, this was like one of the most beautiful things that was happening. I could tell some distance happened with her and her mom, because I could always tell whenever she was close. She would come, man, I'm talking about, she get a call, come back, and she hates me. Now it's some distance. Now we're starting to reconcile. Now we're talking. We're still going through with the therapy. We crying, we expressing, we forgiving on both ends. Because everybody know about my sins, but it was some stuff she, you know what I'm saying? So the kids are seeing it, you know, and this is when I wrote a book, Healed Together Without Hurting Each Other, but I wrote it based on all the things we were doing. We had a schedule now. So we went through that process. This is toward the end of 2020, I think. Things ain't perfect, but we fighting for it. We in church together. We serving in church together. We praying most of the time together. We doing warfare, all of it. And then comes 2021.
What happened in 2021?
March of 2021. I think it was the 22nd or 23rd. No. Actually, a little bit before that. A month prior, my auntie passed. It was my mama's only sister. And that was really tough for me because she was always the one that was most proud of me outside of my mom. And 2 weeks later, my dad passed. My stepdad passed. And so we went to, at this point, man, I don't take losses well. You know, deaths are nothing. So I'm messed up. And as we were preparing to go there, maybe a week prior, we found out we were pregnant with our third baby. We couldn't even enjoy that because it's so much compounding grief. And she's just like, I got you. I'm here for you, et cetera. So we go to my dad's wake. And like that evening, there's a girl from the separation time, my birthday time, that's doing an interview. And I'm like, I ain't got time for this. I'm just like, man, I ain't got time for this. I done got beat up fighting for this family. I done got beat up in grief. I done got, the financial piece because I had to work to eat. So I kept payroll and I never kept making money. Because at this point, I'm just all family, all Christian walk. So now my finances are starting to look a little funny. And then this. So that night we kind of put it away. My dad's funeral, my phone is blowing up. I had to put on airplane mode, all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to face them. I got to face them.
Who was the them?
Them being the people that supported me.
Just in case anybody who watched the replay or here is getting confused, he's talking about the time that Tasha K did her exposure. I'm going to expose Derrick Jaxn. And this was currently happening in his life when she did her exposure. Resume.
The public. Because, of course, I didn't talked about this and and here it is. I knew at some point I would talk about it, but I didn't plan to talk about it until our family was stronger.
I would say that's pretty darn impressive that out of all the dirt you did, it took that long for somebody to say something.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with this may have been the first time I cut people off the way she wanted me to cut them off, as opposed to really friendly. And
that's what she also said. She said, cut them off and then get a new phone. That was the other thing.
It was get a new phone, get a new place, throw out, a whole lot of
move to a whole other city, yeah.
$60,000, $70,000 worth of furniture, sculptures, paintings, clothes.
You talking about do what? Get rid of it?
Throw it away.
I wish I knew you.
Don't sell it. Don't give it away.
Gosh, I wish I knew you.
But
what you talking about? You just throw it away. I know you gave it to some people.
It was one or two things I gave away. Because when my family found out I was going to throw away all this expensive stuff and sculptures and stuff, they was like, no, we're coming up there. But most of it, no, I literally had to show her I was cutting through my custom paintings.
Because she's talking about the spiritual stuff.
She had been hitting me with all of that stuff. But I was
And you really tore that stuff up?
I did.
You talking about your clothes and everything?
It was a show of good faith.
I see you, Lisa, creeping through the back door. You see all this he did for her? Got rid of all this stuff. That's money and everything. Just to show good faith and to help the marriage. To make her happy. Wasn't enough. Sometimes men, when you're in a relationship, I'm talking about to the good men out here, because there's a whole lot of good men out here. Okay? And I'm sorry, ladies, if you're all bitter and you're saying there's no good men out here. I'm sorry that you never experienced it. I really feel sorry for you, and maybe you need to check yourself. Maybe you need to level up mentally, physically, or something, and check yourself. Why you keep attracting these losers back to a loser? Why you seem to be like a dusty magnet? Just check yourself. You know what I mean? So don't put the blame on them so much. It's yourself. But it's just, Interesting. All right, let me get back to it. Because it's a little bit more. I'm trying to not talk so much. I'm trying. Let's get back to it.
Because even though I didn't agree with her, but I was like, you've seen enough actions of me trying to do it my way. And it ended us up in this situation. Last thing I'm going to do is still assert myself as the authority on how this needs to make you comfortable. So if she's saying it's triggering her, I was like, I'll give it up. So
your family came and got some.
Some of my family came up there. It was like, nope, we taking this, we taking that. This was actually, in the separation. So she wasn't there. And they was like, nope, they found out through all this stuff, TVs and everything. Man, so we fast forward to 2020, like again, compounded grief. And then I'm like, I want to face them. At first, she was really, really pissed, but supportive still. She was like, we knew this was going to come. I'm 10 toes. You know what I'm saying? I got you, da-da-da. And then we come.
So hold on. So I get that. You really want your marriage to work then, huh? Man. I never would think that. And that's why I said you got to wait. Can't pass judgment on people. I literally assumed that you were stuck in a marriage. You were getting along just to get along, but your heart was really wanting to be in these streets and smash all these women.
No.
You're saying that what I'm getting from you ain't even saying this, but what I'm getting from you is that, no, I really want the marriage to work. It just so happened that I was doing this stuff behind the scenes when I felt neglected and felt this type of stuff. You really want to be married.
Absolutely.
I was kind of thinking the same thing as him, especially after what I heard what Dana was saying. It's good to hear the other side of the story. All right, let me check the votes. Let's see if the votes increase. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. All right, we got 17 votes. Woo woo! Let's get it. And happy Saturday to everybody. I hope everybody having such a blessed and great evening. And thank you for being here and spending time with me with this topic. I really appreciate it. And shout out to the replay watchers. I appreciate it too. All right, we got 17 votes. Do you think Derrick Jaxn's being honest with his side? 6% says, no way, Donna. 35% says, yes, I feel he is. 41% says, not sure. 18% says, I can't stand this man. Woo, boy. Let's get back to it.
Absolutely. I wanted my family. I wanted to be married, but I wanted us to stay cohesive. That was the biggest thing on my mind. Stay in the house.
So answer this real quick. So be married or want your family? Meaning, would it be okay to have this perfect hybrid of a relationship? Hey, Danae.
Hey, ladies. Nicole DeBraccio. Patty Perry with DSD.
I have a propensity to smash chicks on the side. Can you be okay with that? I'm going to give you this soft life, give you this wonderful life you live in. I love my family. I'm going to be here for my kids. Hey, I love them. I got 3 kids now. This is amazing. But just let me go out here and smash some people from time to time. Would that be the perfect world for you?
No, that'd be hell.
Why?
Because it was hell when I was doing it behind her back. I wasn't happy. I was coping. She actually offered up for me to be with other women. And I think this may have been after she saw something on my phone but hadn't told me. But she said, what if I just allow you to have other women? And I was like, I thought it was an opportunity to talk. I'm like, no, I don't want other women. I want things to work between us. And even as I'm looking back at it, really, bro, it still shouldn't have come to that because I was reacting. We not doing good or whatever. Instead of being accountable to the principles of the marriage, my vows, I was accountable to how I felt. And that was, again, a part of this long pattern of I'll be good so long as I feel good about you and how we doing. But the moment I don't feel good, screw it.
So you tell me a perfect situation for you getting remarried again is a woman that says, I believe a man, because I've had women come to me before. Women have come to me over the last couple of years. And when I've spoken about infidelity in the past, I have women that come to me and be like, because it's not normal for a man to be faithful. So let me tell you something, Terrence, if you choose me as your wife, you can go smash women on the side. It don't matter. That don't bother me. As long as you taking care of the household, as long as you don't let that mess come to my doorstep, I'm cool with it. But the reason why I personally can't do that is because I think you're speaking to I know you're speaking to the lowest version of me. That because of my faith and my relationship with Christ, I can't operate like that. But then a lot of times men will say, well, look at the men in the Bible or whatever. I understand that. We're not in that time. I know they had multiple wives. They had all this type of stuff. That's when people argue polyamory and polygamous. But I was like, that's not me. I know, like you're about to say, what you touched on, what that did to my soul. It grieves my soul. So my question to you is, why couldn't you just do that with your next wife if you decide to get married again?
The variety of vagina never pulled me. It wasn't like it was more so physical. It was emotional. I was soothing whenever I slept around. That I had went basically like this. Okay, so in the times where I was faithful, like I might spend 6 months here, 8 months here, whatever, 3 months. When I was happy, I curved girls that most guys would do anything to get next to. But it was when I was unhappy for an extended amount of time, I would at least open the door to have conversations and start there. And then it would go all the way there. A perfect world for me, man, because I don't mind the same vagina over and over again. When I'm in love, it feel new to me every single time. I was fine physically. And I mean, this is what
He said, I'm okay with that saying cookies. It's new to him every time he hit it. Ladies, believe it or not, there are some faithful men out here. It's a lot of them. Yep, it's a lot of them. And sorry you haven't experienced them. Let's get back to it. I'm sorry for a lot of women have experienced a lot of things with good men. And especially when you reach a certain age, it's kind of pathetic. It's really sad. But I think it has a lot to do with your environment, the way you was raised and what you've seen in your household. So you think this is all that that you deserve. Or maybe it could be just you. Maybe you need to check yourself. Maybe you need to level up and change tweak a couple of things in yourself. And don't put it all on the men. They all dogs. They no good for nothing. Yes, I know I come off sometimes. I say trifling, dusty, heifers and stuff. But if you know my channel, I go both ways. I go in on the men and I go in on the women. If you're trifling, you're a dusty or a dustet, it is what it is. I'm going to call you out. Okay? And I'm a little sick and tired of these women out here that have these good men who's providers and protectors that will give the world for them. Because this is their woman. They love them. They love them. They respect them. And this is how they are. And they get pooped on. Taken for granted. All right, let's get back to the story.
why we stay connected in that way. There wasn't a complaint there.
Right.
And I want to be respectful to her as a woman because, she's not my person anymore. And I'm, somebody else's wife eventually. But that wasn't my complaint. My complaint was how cold it felt. And honestly, I used to say it, I felt more lonely and single than when I was single. In a relationship, just that rejection, that was just the way that she coped and did her own thing. But that was the part I really wanted. In a perfect world, I didn't feel that. Now, in a realistic world, as a man, I should have had better coping strategies as opposed to coping with women or anything that was going to compromise my vows. I should have been equipped and prepared more to deal with that or to leave if I was just so unhappy. But I didn't take that responsibility.
How are you reconciling that, being the voice for caring for a woman's heart, but then privately destroying the woman you had at home?
Resentment. That was the denial I needed. It was like you would do anything and feel like you right in doing it if you feel hurt enough, pissed off enough, disrespected or taken for granted enough. These were a lot of the things that I was saying to her, like, man, you taking me for granted. And nothing to do with nothing physical or superficial. It was like how much I'm sacrificing for you, da-da-da-da. But one thing I didn't understand, man, is she wasn't experiencing that. It was like, it's kind of like if you ever been down on yourself, like, man, life is so bad because you got into it with whoever. But then you got to really think like, nah, man, my kids is good. My roof is over my head. I got blood in I'm alive. So it's like objectively some things are true, but you're not experiencing it based on what you done focused on. And what I didn't learn until way later was that she never experienced all of these things that was on my mind that I was personalizing that she didn't appreciate. So in a perfect world, man, like it's just one woman, that's what I want. And the last couple of years of the marriage, that's what I stuck to, no matter how I felt. And I know and apparently the world feels differently.
So you saying, right, when you say the last years, we'll get to there. So you get this lady, she does this interview. What did she say in this interview?
I didn't watch that interview either.
How could you not watch a video of somebody talking about you and everybody?
I was broke down, brother. I was at.
He's talking about the lady with the interview. I think he's talking about with the Tasha K thing. They don't want to, put her name out there, which I don't blame her. BG said deep, and Lisa saying deep. All right, Lovejoy said here, yes, really deep. It's best to hear both sides, y'all. Mm-hmm. But Lovejoy, nobody's really listening to this side. It's very few people, because when the first one, when Danae was on there, oh my gosh, everybody was trend topic. Everybody was doing reactions. Everybody was doing commentary. Blah 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 blah. Everything has something to say. Now, when it comes to him speaking, why are you not doing a video reaction on this one? Nobody's doing it. No, they're not. It's just amazing. But it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. And, I know I'm going to get, flat. People's going to come in. Oh, you just like yourself some Derrick Jaxn. You got pom-poms for Derrick Jaxn because he's tall, he's dark, he has muscles and all of this. No, that's not the reason. I call fair is fair. All right. And it is what it is. And I don't feel about this by any tuber out here. And he does make some great videos. And we're going to take a quick break. This is kind of a long live stream, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. I'm sorry. Keep y'all here forever. It is what it is, okay? Because in a second, I'm going to pause. I'm going to play one of his videos. I played her video, cursing us, and I'm going to play one of his videos. Yes, I am. All right, let's resume.
At my limit. I had just lost two very important people in my life. I already had jacked up my family, and we were trying to get it back together. I got a baby on the way. The finances is tricky because I can't even work consistently. Danae at that time, like, she was still healing a lot. So I had become the primary parent for the elder children. They went to the gym with me. I did get them up and brush their teeth and put them to bed and all these different things, taught them and resolve conflict. And so there's so much pressure on me just as a man. And then throughout that process, because I was the wrongdoer, all of my feelings were obsolete. And now it was okay. Like, screw how you feel.
Yeah.
You hurt her. And so I felt, even more invisible. This goes back to the first counseling session we did, feeling invisible, to childhood. It's like, man, I'm repetitively feeling alone. So as we coming back, and I know they done did, I'm like, I can't think straight. We get back, and I know I'm gonna face my audience instead of, being further more cowardly than I already had been. Because no matter what, I want to walk according to what I think is the right thing to do. I faced them that night, but I only talked to what I did in the separation. I didn't tell them I had cheated in the marriage as well. So I was like, again, I want to do this. I want to do this again. And I offered for her to have a voice if she wanted to. Part of our counseling was her having a voice. She wanted more of a voice. She said, yeah. And then that's when we did the video.
In the video, how do you feel about how she represented herself in that video? Well, because you remember, you're the face of this brand.
The video he's talking about is when everybody made all these reaction videos with the bonnet. Remember, they was just going in, which it really wasn't a bonnet. She just had something different, but they just wanted to say the bonnet and stuff. So they getting into that. That was after he was exposed by, Tasha K, and everything was going crazy, and everybody was on social media. So he decided to speak out, and he had his wife. I believe this is what he's discussing right now. Resume.
And to have her on there where now she's been attacked from the bonnet, which was something very intentional that I was when she came on the podcast. I said, Danae, listen, the last time, I understand how triggering these moments are. I said, so I'm going to get a makeup artist. I'm going to get somebody to make sure you look right. I don't want nobody criticizing you on my platform. Why didn't you give her that same level of care to make sure that when she represented herself, she was representing the best light?
Do you think you'd be happy?
Like, she needed makeup. I didn't feel like that was the missing piece in her being presentable or beautiful. I still, honestly, bro, I don't look at that video of what she had on and see anything wrong. The only thing I can see now from the outside is her body language. And I knew what that was because of, but people in real life didn't know. Both of us were shattered. I'm a bit more poised probably in front of the camera, and also I'm more functional. Like, even when I'm not okay, I look okay. But she was showing it,
right?
But for different reasons.
She was pregnant at the time.
Pregnant.
No one knew she was pregnant at the time.
Knew she was pregnant, and she was somewhat grieving because she knew of my stepdad as well. So we're both coming from some really heavy stuff. On top of her being pregnant, on top of this being a season of attempted reconciliation, and so we show up, and that way I didn't really. again, it didn't stick out to me because this ain't my first time seeing her. Just, again, I think she's beautiful. And I appreciate what you did and making sure that she was protected. But I know afterwards, when we thought about doing some more conversations, I was like, oh, let's get PR. So our body language ain't the same because I don't want them to talk about you. We did a podcast for a little bit and I was like, I don't want them to talk about you. And I started looking at it from their lens. But at the time, man, I don't think she was thinking about herself. And me, I think I was so selfish in my own feelings. I wasn't thinking about her either.
How did you feel when the video dropped and people kept talking about her bonnet and they kept saying, I see why he cheated on her. I see why. And they started making the quote unquote victim. That's all we knew. We didn't know about what she was doing in a relationship. So now she's this victim and now they're victim blaming. She's the reason why her man is unhappy. She's the reason why he's unfaithful because look at how she presents herself. Of course, he's going to want one of these baddies that you see on Instagram. How did you feel seeing that?
First, I don't even know where to start. I put her in that position. So as much as I was looking at it and not liking this and that, I was like, my decisions. It's another reminder that my decisions put her in this place. Secondly, I think I just felt helpless because typically I'm the one that stands.
To the ones that's coming in, welcome. To the ones that's in the bushes, welcome. And I also want to say is make sure you hit the like and, vote. Share your thoughts. Let me know. Resume.
For people who get crucified wrongly, and especially women, but really anybody. I've stood for men too, but here, I'm obsolete because I'm the one that caused it. Thirdly, there is no connection to a woman's looks and a man's integrity. One way or the other. She can't look good enough to make me a no man faithful.
Teach.
And she can't look bad enough to make us step out.
Teach.
So just in terms of what they were saying, I was like, that's bullshit. Like the most beautiful by society standards women have gotten cheated on.
Yep.
Because it's not about her looks or her makeup. It's about my character.
Thank you.
Or lack thereof. So again.
Beyonce, men out here, as we speaking, probably masturbating to her, her pictures. Jay-Z got her, the woman that every man out here dreams about and wants. And he cheated on her. Good point. It doesn't make a difference. Resume.
And it sucked not being able to say that and stand for that. And I was appreciative of those who did because they were doing what I couldn't do. And so it was really the shame that was already there, the guilt and all this other stuff. And then you add in the ripple effect of now family is getting involved. Her mother is, you talking about might as well moved in. It was so much that went on. I just totally now I'm obsolete and I'm moving myself and I'm fine with that because I need to make sure she's okay to healthily carry this baby. Because she's pregnant still. We still got to go to these doctor's appointments.
Yep.
She still got to keep an appetite. Me, I've been in the middle of scrutiny and I was fine with that. Man, talk about me. One, I deserve it. Two, I'm kind of used to it.
But I'm used to it on that level though.
Even on that
level, because people love Derrick Jaxn.
This is when you see a man as a protector. Like he said, he can take the scrutiny. You can talk about him, but don't talk about his wife like that. It bothered him. Protect her. And a lot of people did. And I have to apologize because I didn't really get all into it or whatever, but I kind of like a little bit of a chuckle with the way she looked out there. But I didn't make all those videos because people just making videos. Oh, look at the bonnet. Look at the bonnet.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's more the other videos that people were kind of more interacting than the bonnet thing. That ain't nothing. That's just what it is. But I think the antics and the demonic possession is what got the attention. If you're gonna put it on Instagram, people have a right to criticize it.
You have a point. Resume. Oh, in a few minutes, I'm gonna pause and just show one of his videos Just in case anybody don't know his commentary, don't know his videos, we're gonna take a pause. It's kind of a long live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So try to hang in there. If you can't, I understand. Resume.
Jackson. It's a lot of men that didn't like you, but women love you. Look at your social media following. I mean, when did you ever have 1 million people following you? That's a lot of people that even when the video came out, people still, I would hear people say, I don't care what he did to his wife. I still find value in what he's saying because he helped me through this and he helped me through this and his video helped me get out this toxic relationship. So no matter how much the world crashed down on you by that, you still had, and I still say the overwhelming majority of people are women that still was advocating for you.
I feel a little differently, man. I think not only advocating for me, I think they were advocating for what I stood for and that it didn't just wash that away. What I've gotten from them anyway, because I had people that turned on me and I totally understand. But the people that in real life or even online, they were like, that doesn't take away from your truth. But for me, again, I had rumors go viral about me before. People just don't remember because I wasn't as big, but I've seen tens of thousands of people unfollow me before because they thought the nail was white and I didn't date black women. So I already kind of knew, but I also think I just was too numb to that. Now, this is the first time that scrutiny is coming to somebody I love, somebody close to me, because of me.
Right.
So that was my whole attention went to, this is a new experience for me in that regard. That she's not built like that.
Right.
You know, she ain't used to this and she wasn't supposed to ever have to get used to it. So what was going on in my mind is just the lowest feeling you could probably imagine. Even with trying to tune out social media and everything else, her coworkers, her mama, her whatever, had to see her relive this trauma. And people making talking points because people kind of forget we both human.
Yeah.
You know, and they could forget I'm human, but I'm like this girl that y'all go from protect black women to, ooh, look at her bonnet.
That point.
And music videos and stuff like, I mean, it's so insensitive. I'm wishing I could say something, but I'm still the cause of it all. So it's guilt, shame, helplessness, fury, anger. Some people that I thought were at least somewhat friends making jokes about it. And it gave me a perspective, man, that like on some level, my platform had probably done the same thing. You know, when I talked about people and, you know, especially holding them accountable, I always thought I did it with a level of ethics. And, you know, I'm trying to at least be constructive here. But ultimately, I was making a lot of people's wives relive their own trauma. And if anybody's listening, you know, I was wrong for that. I want whoever I've ever talked about to understand that that was wrong of me. But that gave me a perspective I never had before because I saw her trying to shut it out, but her phone blowing up.
Yeah.
You know, friends and stuff is concerned. Is she okay? And understandably, but it was overwhelming.
When you look at what made you record the video, I know you said some of your followers sent the video to you about analyzing yourself, which I thought that was, when you look at that and you hear somebody talking in third person about themselves, they consider that textbook narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world would possess you to do a reaction video to yourself?
Horrible decision making.
I was like, why would you do that?
Horrible thought process. So for me, whatever I'm going through, my MO has been to just work through it, get up and go do something. But at that point, I'm the biggest conversation. And I was like, this is not something I stand by. But I was like, how am I going to talk about everybody else, but I want to talk about me? Dumbest decision. Because out of 800 videos, the one that I do in third person is the one that confirms I'm a narcissist.
You're a textbook narcissist.
Textbook narcissist. It's third person. And we all have a PhD in narcissism from Instagram.
Yeah, we all got it from Instagram, YouTube.
So I was like, well, that didn't go in. And I took it down.
On top of that, Derrick, at the very end, what do? Promote a product.
I probably did.
He was like, and I have this book that I had come. I said, this N-word.
Right, the show must go on.
This N-word just sat there and did. What is wrong with this?
The most detached, not reading the room moment probably in my life. Mm-hmm.
And so what kind of pushback did you get from that?
Just the same. It was, for me, and again, it's not trying to be arrogant. It's just like, for whatever's coming my way, I know how to, for the most part, block it out. You know, my whole career has been about, you know, being able to ignore naysayers. This time it was legit though. You know, something I really did. I really disappointed people that believed in me. But regardless, so much was going on in my life, I couldn't access how I felt about that.
Yeah. And then you're also still processing the loss of your the father that you knew. That's your father. Call him stepfather, whatever, but he's been there all the time. That's
The
your
only father that I knew.
Yep.
And, my family's still processing it. My cousin got shot in the head about a month or two after that. It was like I was saying about 3 months, we had 4 deaths in the family. My uncle had died while I was at my auntie's funeral. I know it sounds like this don't even make no sense. While we was at her funeral, my uncle had died. Now, we didn't really like him that much. So, my mama gonna I'm sorry, but I didn't like him that much. So that one was a little less impactful, just knowing that you supporting your family who cared about him.
Yeah.
But the other 3 were really tough. But it's like, man, I can't be a victim and my children need me. I can't fold. I put everybody in this situation and I wanted to fold. I had the gun on my lap. I wanted to fold. I wanted to be out.
You contemplated suicide?
I was on my way to pulling that trigger.
Ladies and gentlemen, please listen well. Be in tune to what's happening right now. Please. Very important. Reason.
But Marley came out. They were getting ready to go somewhere. Marley saw my tail lights on and said, "Ooh, Daddy's here. Daddy's here." Because I was out of the house for a while, and she came and jumped up on the door right at that moment.
Are you in a car?
Yeah, I was in my truck. I was just doing it in my truck.
In the driveway? In the garage or something?
No, it was in the driveway, in a little cul-de-sac. So after that, I was, kind of scared about how close I got to it. I'm like, I'm not telling nobody because of the shame of I did this and whatever, and I don't have no voice because I'm the bad guy. I'm the big bad wolf in everybody's eyes now. The resentment in the house is tenfold. I can't say enough about it. But one thing we had talked about was that I don't typically let nobody into my internal struggle, and I needed to do that. So I talked to Dana about it. Now, we're not in a good place here again. And I talked to her about it, and she kind of stonewalled a little bit, just didn't have much to say. But that's when a little bit after that, I decided I couldn't do the marriage anymore. This was in 2021 because she was laughing about it with her mom.
That she was going to commit suicide?
She was.
Your husband comes to you about something so serious, about his emotion and feeling. This is your husband. He's supposed to be able to talk to you. He got to the point that it got so bad that he wanted to commit suicide. Thank God his little angel ran out there. Thank God she didn't see anything. But she ran out there and she stopped him. Well, she didn't, the little angel didn't know, but stopped him. And I have to say, with Tasha K exposing him, when people do stuff like this, you really need to just mind your business because you don't know what's going to be the chain of reaction. Because once you open up Pandora's box, you cannot close it. You don't know what's going to come out. And it could have reached to the point that this man is right now, he would not be speaking. He would have been dead. It was just too much. You don't know how people's going to handle certain things. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. He wanted to end his life. He couldn't take it anymore. It was just too much. And then for the nerve of his wife, he confides to her and she's talking to the mother and they laughing like this is funny. You laughing with your mother? Oh no, I don't like mommy. Not at all. She's laughing. You shouldn't even been telling your mother. That's personal between you two. What you should have been doing is trying to get some help to find out why would your husband want to go there. End his life. We have a family. We have children. You cannot do this. Just let me know. Do you agree with me or you disagree with me? And whoever's watching replay, let me know. Do you agree with me or you disagree with me? I'd like to know. Resume. And I also want to add is, I don't blame him for wanting to get a divorce after that. No, we don't need to be together. You're laughing? Wow.
Laughing about it with her mom. I got wind of the conversation. This was after some texts I saw. She was still talking to her mom about the marriage. Which wasn't, who can't forgive after all the forgiveness I needed, But this one where I was like, not that she's so bad, in this moment, but it just made it clear how far away from me her heart has turned.
Did you divorce her? Did you say you wanted a divorce by text?
Yeah. At that time, and anytime we tried to talk, especially if it involved her mama, she either ended up yelling or she stonewalled, like blank face until I got done talking and had nothing to say. Learning in therapy, she witnessed that about her mom yelling at a man, whatever. I never did, but I didn't do well with no yelling. So I knew this is to do with her mom, and I told her, hey, not only do I can't do this anymore, but this unresolved issue with your mom is the reason why. I don't know if she mentioned that or not, but a lot of people don't know. It had nothing to do with infidelity as far as why I decided I needed to leave. It was because we had talked about restoring the marriage, but we, pastors, counselors, over and over again, be catching that she had talked to her mom or brought her mom into the marriage, and her mama was very intent on staying in the marriage, giving play-by-plays of how to disrespect me, or whatever. At this point, it was like, I already done checked out. I've been in the guest room over a year. But if we're going to give this a chance, you got to just set the boundary with your mom. I ain't going to put words in your mouth. So I told her, but just let her know you love her and you appreciate her support, but you're committing to this and you need her love to look different. And she kept saying, well, I'll get to it, or not yet, no, not ready. And over a year of that, I was like, I got to go.
What's with the coat? She does that every time we get a great review.
So you sent her a text message. She was up, you was upstairs and she was downstairs on the couch.
Yep.
And at that point, that was in what year? 2021?
This is 2022 now. I skipped a whole lot, but 2022 now.
2022, you send that. When you said, hey, I'm about to divorce said woman, divorce your wife, how soon did you start entertaining the woman that we see you boot up with on social media?
Boot up.
Yeah.
Pinky.
What's her name? Okay.
I didn't know Pinky until about 2 months after.
2 months after?
Yeah, I didn't entertain anybody. Until I had filed and moved out, I didn't entertain a single woman. I know people think that I did because they saw the picture simultaneously with my announcement to be out. But because, again, I'm private, I didn't want to even announce the divorce. I didn't see any use in it. I'm like, why bring people in after all this already been caused? But then when I went down to Miami, I had been moved out now, and she had already did the video praying against folks, that kind of thing. I was like, so this is me and my experience, not saying she was bad or whatever, but for me, that was a living hell. Being rejected to that degree, being reminded of all the wrong I've done to that degree. Over a year in the guest room. But even though I did a lot of healing in that time, it was tough to feel so disgusting to a person that you still care about. And so whenever I got out of the house, I was like, I need to be surrounded by friends, family, and love. So other friends and family down there in Miami, but the young lady was going to be there as well. And yeah, man, we just enjoyed Art Basel, and that's what people taking pictures. And honestly, I didn't care because I was like, y'all don't know my life. I don't want to live under the shadow of what people could think, even though looking at it is kind of careless.
Yeah, you like, I'm with a whole woman. I at least make.
I'm so sorry. Gotta go back because my thing was acting up. I apologize here, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty. I had to refresh. The thing was bugging out. Don't disappear. We're gonna resume. I'm gonna go back just a pinch. Just a pinch in case we miss anything. All right, we're gonna resume, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, make an announcement. Me and my wife respect our privacy. We have decided to dissolve our marriage. And then whatever they see you at that point on.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
At that point, it was, again, this ain't no excuse, man. I'm just living and learning in real time.
Of course.
There's some grief there with the kids because we also getting ready to go into Christmas, the first one without the children. And then also actually divorcing is still painful. Even if you grew apart, you don't love the person no more romantically.
No matter how you look at it, it's a death.
It's been over a year since I started that detachment, but I still was feeling some of it. But ultimately, I was trying to be rebuilt up. I didn't went around feeling like the world's greatest big bad wolf. I wanted to be around people that loved me and cared about me. And yes, some of that included feminine energy that just at least liked me as a human.
Right.
It's not even about sex. It's like, man, do you even smile whenever you look at me? I've been coming into rolled eyes and, somebody walking when she hear me coming in, she walk. Understandably, by the way, let me say that.
Right. There's a lot of built-in failure, a lot of mismanagement of our heart, mismanagement of all that. And then it's
disappointment, trauma, reiterating the trauma. And, so many different things going on. Probably some stuff apart from me that ain't got nothing to do with me as well. So I understand it. But two things can be true. I understand it. And it was effed up. It was messing me up.
No, who want to sit in that? That's why most people get divorced. That's why most people say, I'd rather just start over fresh. I'm going to take these lessons I've learned and then I'm going to try to do better in the next marriage. But this right here just ain't working.
My mentor told me, though, man, you got that for 5 to 7 years. He was helping coach me through it. I had prepped my mind to be able to endure that. It just was still tough. The reason I actually got a divorce was because I'm like, she's not able to do what needs to be done with her mom. And when she treats me a certain way, there's another person involved that gets treated a certain way because there's another person that is connected to how she feels about it.
That's a puppeteer that's pulling the strings.
To a degree. No, not that. There's another person that, okay, I don't know how to say this, but I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. So our eldest daughter, she may have spoken on this, is darker than the other two.
Oh yeah, she said that. She said she didn't used to like that. She said she didn't like that daughter. She had a lot of resentment towards that daughter.
So me, like in the house as an infant, as a toddler, because she's saying it, and I don't think you might not understand like this.
What it looked like in real time.
In real life, these are experiences.
I can imagine what it looked like.
So I could often intervene or kind of settle things out because I know that she loves that girl. I know that she loves her children. But it was affecting their relationship and how she treated her or how harsh she was or how she talked to her.
And I got that from what she's saying. She's saying that when somebody says that they don't like their child because the dark skin of this child reminds them of the type of women that you preferred, then
I have come home and I have stood at the base.
It's a different level.
And
I didn't understand it, but again, with Grace, is just like, even she's saying she's trying to work against it. So, all right, family business. We're going to work through this. But I'm the one that saw the 2-year-old go for affection to their mommy and get turned away while the other two light skin or the other one light skin at that time child gets all the love and affection and the dark skin child to see that. I'm the one that hears our dark skin child say things reflective of how she feels mommy feels about her. So as everything was in a stagnation or regressing, it wasn't just me getting pushed away or treated a certain way.
Yeah.
And again, I really hope people just approach this with compassion because I don't think any of us manage all of our emotions perfectly.
Of course not.
And she's done a ton of sacrificing for every one of those kids. And I just need to say that because she's not a bad mom.
Right.
But I said the longer that I stay in this space, knowing that she's not going to do what I need her to do, and that therefore that stunts her healing, our reconnection, the longer she's getting put through that, the longer the kids are getting modeled, the disconnection, the resentment and tension remaining. I don't know if she was talking to her mom at that point, but without her making that stance and saying, we committed over here, we were not moving forward. So anytime she got triggered, anytime I put whatever, it was two people receiving the brunt of that. And somebody had to draw a line and say no more.
I can respect that. Because what you did is give more context behind what she even admitted. And I believe that what you said, she will never deny. She'll say, yep, that was.
But but with all of that, because one thing I noticed, and I hope she don't mind me saying this, is that sometimes she dealt with shame of feeling like she wasn't perfect. She cried about sometimes how she dealt with our daughter. She had a lot of insecurities as a woman, but also as a mother. And so I hope that she knows that it doesn't take away from her love for the kids, her sacrifices for the kids, the things even now I don't see, because we've been co-parents now almost a year. So there's many things she has to take on now that we maybe used to split that's strictly on her, and including our third child. So for anybody, any mom out there that resents their kids for any reason, there's some people that just mad they became parents.
Yep.
It became such a burden. And there's mothers and fathers that deal with that guilt of knowing they don't feel as happy about something that, the kid is involved, but they can't talk to nobody. And what I'm saying is, you know,
I had to refresh. I don't know what's happening with StreamYards because Lovejoy is writing down some comments and I can't post them on here. That's why I had to refresh and we got cut off. But I'm gonna read what Lovejoy said. She can't thank her mom for her marriage ending. Exactly. I agree with you. And also what else Lovejoy says, I knew it. Her mother was part of the problem in their marriage. Her mother may have been jealous. Bingo. I learned a lot here. And let's not forget, 15 years age difference. Ridiculous. She might not realize now, Lovejoy, but she's going to realize later. Resume.
It don't take away from that. And her love is still genuine. And she's still a good woman.
That's good. I'm glad you said that, which goes back to this Mother's Day post that you made.
Mm-hmm.
What made you do that? And I believe that while it's good intentions, for whatever reason, people didn't receive it as such. When you look back, hindsight being 2020, why you believe that wasn't received well?
Well, Shade Room didn't receive it well, and the blogs didn't, but people on my page did. However, you know, I caught wind that she wasn't happy with it. That was my 3rd year post on Mother's Day. For me, and I'm not saying it was the right decision, but the romantic relationship is completely separate from the co-parenting relationship.
True.
So I honored her in real life before Mother's Day about her being a mom. I would send her text to say, thank you for taking on that, especially if the kids went to urgent care or something. Thank you for being the one to take care of that. Thank you for being there, taking off whatever you might be doing for work. So in real life, I honored her. And actually, her mom was there. I brought her flowers. I had the kids pick something up.
The day before, she told me that.
Yeah, that was a regular thing, though. As co-parents, I'm like, we may have, you know, our chapters closed romantically, but we still are teammates when it comes to them.
She said the reason why it was kind of backhanded compliment is because you blocked her on social media. So how can you block somebody but then make a message or an affirmation post without them, quote unquote, seeing it?
So I had to block her because before y'all interview, she was throwing around our picture online. She was in her stories. She had a whole webinar called the Cheating Husband Stories. It was like, when I saw that you had titled it Breaks Her Silence, I was like, broke what? It was already broken because she had been. But for me, I wanted to allow her, if she want to express or tell her story, that I don't deserve a space to speak on what's valid and what's not. And so I was kind of letting her do a thing, but I can only handle so much. If she's doing all of this, people are sending. So I blocked her. Like, I can't handle that. And I don't want to start retaliating or, you know, whatever, speaking as well. So I didn't say anything about her at all outside of Happy Mother's Day. But I honored her in real life. I honored her out loud online the same way I had 2 years prior because it was separate. And I meant everything I said in there about her being a great mom. But yeah, I had blocked it and I unblocked it because I was trying to tag her, but her settings won't let me tag her. But yeah, that was it. And I took it down when, you know, she's not comfortable with that. Fine, no big deal.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I wasn't following her around to know what she was saying about you. And in all sincerity, like which I told her, which I had to do a pre-interview, I questioned her mental stability. So I didn't want to bring on the podcast and explore that. I was like, something is off with her. So then when people kept saying, you need to talk to her, then I talked to her on the phone and I was like, oh, she really cool. She really cool. Well, all right, well, come on. Because if she was dealing with any type of mental illness and that type of stuff, I didn't want to exploit that.
Yeah.
And so when I was talking to her, I said, oh, she funny. She cracking jokes. Because even when she would talk about the infidelity, she'll be joking about it, which made me feel like she was so far removed that she was healed from it. Because I would say, if you can laugh about something, and she was like, yeah, they'll pass me the hallway. Yeah, I was one of the girls. So I like it when people get to the place where they can laugh at some of their dumb decisions and be able to acknowledge what was right, what was wrong, and talk about her own faults in it or whatnot. And so that's what made me say, all right, come on, Dear Future Wifey Podcast and have this conversation.
Yeah, she ain't crazy. She's different. And she's like an awkward Black girl.
Yeah.
And then also, I hope everybody understands she's been, and I had to understand this myself, she's been brought to some limits that, you know, I wouldn't wish
most people would
fold somehow.
Yep.
So there's no blueprint on how to handle this. When she first met me, I was a college football player and I loved to write poetry, but that was it. And now I've become this kind of sort of household name, especially in the Black community. Her friends, family, coworkers, cousins, they posted about me and wanted to do it. Like, she's gotten kind of thrust into something I don't know if either of us knew was going to happen.
Right.
Nor do I think she really would have signed up for. So no, there's no blueprint in how she's handling everything. There are certain things she's done I still think is kind of crazy. I mean, just keeping the G with you. Whenever she said God took over her body and told the demon in me that I was going to die and go broke, I was like, that is bizarre. I'm not safe here. But the girl ain't crazy.
What do you think about when?
Yep, that's a little bit bizarre. I'm out of here.
She made the post that you was talking about people who speak negative about you, that God was going.
We're going to switch gears and go into, I want to show one of Derrick Jaxn's videos, just in case anybody haven't watched any of his videos. Yep, I told you it's a long one tonight. If you have to leave, I can completely understand. It is getting late. I understand. Alrighty. Let's switch. So it's going to be a little mute for a second. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of his older videos and stuff. And, I just picked one of his videos. And this one is, he doesn't want you, he wants help. I just picked one of these videos. And he does several videos. He used to do a lot of videos in his car. So just in case anybody who's watching this or watching replay, you don't know much about his commentary, these are the kind of videos he did. All right, but I'm going to put on a bit of a faster speed. Yeah. And pick up the speed. Just to get an idea of his commentary. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all, put this out real quick. Public service announcement. I don't know if this is a new wave or something that maybe even pre-existed me, but there's a lot of guys, and I won't say most, definitely not all, but there damn sure some men out here who will act like they want you. They'll talk like they want you. They'll make time for y'all on the phone, FaceTime, text you back, converse with you. You know what I'm saying? They'll delve deep into you mentally. They'll do all of that shit. They act like they want you, give you the impression that they want you, when really they don't want you, man. They won't help. And this is on my mind because I saw a message earlier, man. I didn't get to address it. I was doing a lot of traveling, but it came from a regular viewer of mine. And I could tell she was a regular viewer of mine because, it's just certain shit you don't tolerate when you've been watching my videos for some time. But anywho, she sent me a couple of screenshots between her and her guy, or the guy that she's, been seeing or maybe not seeing that long. Yeah. He started it off with a red flag, and she caught that shit out the gate. He was like, yeah, my people just put me out. Which, first off, if you are 21 years or older and you're still getting put out by your people, they really too late with that shit. You should have been put out a long time ago. But one red flag you need to watch for a guy who's only looking for help, who only wants help from you, he don't really want you, is whenever he starts out conversations, or not even gonna start out a conversation in the beginning, this motherfucker telling you all of this hard not life issues that he's having, money issues that he's having. Really what he's doing is warming you up. Now, granted, I get a lot of y'all already peep game. If you've been watching my shit for a while, your intuition already on point, but some people may not understand this. If a dude start telling you about all this shit that's going wrong with his money, all this shit that's going wrong with his place to stay, you best believe he's getting ready to ask you for something. And you got to recognize whenever you're a person that's in a position to help other people, so you need to be on guard anyway. But back to the story. So he was like, yeah, my people put me out. And she was like, damn, that's tough. I hope you work that situation out as appropriately as she should have. He was like, yeah, so what you doing? She was like, chilling, whoop-de-whoop. He was like, okay, can I come through tonight? She's like, no, I don't think that's going to be the best idea. Another point. You see, they'll start off telling you all their hardships, and then they'll ease in with something nice and harmless, like, can I come through tonight? But of course, it starts off with, can I come through? You know what? You got $5. My shit at the house. I ain't got no cash on me. You know what? My check ain't really cleared yet. It's a bank holiday. It start off as something small, and then it evolves into, hey, I was going to be out by the third day. Of course, I told you I only needed to be here like 3 days, but this person didn't answer the phone, so now I need just 1 or 2 more days. Oh man, they stunned on me. They said I could stay at their crib. I'll show you the text messages right here. So I need another week to get this shit straightened out. 6 months later, y'all living together, and he borrowing your car without your permission. Anywho, she caught that shit, and she said, I don't even know you like that. So no. And he was like, damn, so you go leave a nigga stranded? That's that guilt trip. That's that guilt trip where they flip the shit on you, where all of a sudden now they're your responsibility simply because they're talking to you and simply because you heard them out. You know what I'm saying? You gonna leave a nigga stranded. Not he left himself stranded by not already having his shit together. Not he left himself stranded by not asking somebody that he knows better than her instead of a woman, which you shouldn't be coming in no situation asking a woman for no fucking help. You ain't adding no value to her life. She ain't committed to you, and you already asking for favors. That's already a strike right there. But again, that's that guilt trip shit. That's why he's getting ready to try to play on your emotions. Anywho, she shut that shit down as well and was like, you don't even want to come over to kick it with me, spend time and all of that. You just want somewhere to stay. And I'm not your hotel. I'm talking about y'all. I'm proud of this girl. I really am. So anywho, now he hits the bitch switch. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Wherever a dude doesn't get what he wants, he starts insulting the woman that he can't get what he wants from. He find out she's not a fool. So now he's just going to be straight up and be who he really is. So he starts cussing her out. But he says, see, you bitches want relationships until it's time to hold a nigga down. One thing is, he thought he could leverage the, idea that women are just so desperate for companionship and relationships against her in order to play her for a fool. But when he found out he couldn't, he immediately started revealing how he really thought of her. You bitches. You dig what I'm saying? That's just like whenever a dude try to holler at you, try to get your number. Don't you notice how he's just like the sweetest, most mannerable guy in the world? Or maybe not that mannerable, but sometimes they try. They say, hey, Miss Lady, how you doing? Excuse me, beautiful, how you doing? And then when you don't give him a time of day, fuck you then, bitch. You ain't all that anyway. You ugly as fuck anyway. I want your friend anyway. You such a fucking thot. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's a pattern between these types of guys. So anyway, he was like, you bitches want relationships until it's time to hold a nigga down. Not take.
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole video. I just want to show, a little glimpse of his commentary, the advice that he was giving to women. And he got a great point right there. Like I said, I find value in certain people's commentary, and I learn from it, but I don't look at them like they know everything and they God. Y'all need to stop doing it on social media. Okay, we're going to go back to... Where are we going to go back? We're going to go back to the rest of the commentary, and we're going to finish it off, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Hold a second while I switch. Before I start, let me read this comment here. Cause Lovejoy Rosa, it's not coming up on my screen here, so I have to go read it this way. So I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Lovejoy said, you don't kick people when they are down. We're talking about the time when he confided to his wife about one to end his life, and she didn't really have any response, and she decided to tell her mother, and they was laughing about it. Let me finish your comment. Lovejoy says, you don't kick people when they are down. He made mistakes, but he's still the father of your children. She should have been afraid when he said he was suicidal instead of laughing at him with her mom. Exactly. Bingo. I agree. Resume.
Took over her body and told the demon in me that I was going to die and go broke. I was like, that is bizarre. I'm not safe here. But the girl ain't crazy.
What do you think about when she made the post that you was talking about people who speak negative about you, that God was going to kill their kids and everything else?
I was confused because she wouldn't talk to me still. So
because she was acting like y'all was Team Jackson.
We was not Team Jackson, and I was like, huh? Like, because anytime trying to just have a cordial conversation, she wasn't interested. And I was like, okay, well, this is her boundary. Now that I've, moved out the house or whatever. But then when I saw that, I was like, you would think we were still married and she got my back or whatever. And how I've kind of made sense of it now is maybe it was just kind of a little bit of both. Maybe it is, I don't rock with you or whatever, but maybe she was treating it as because we're legally still married, or maybe she had some hope or something like that. She's not going to just cover me in prayer. She's going to cover herself in prayer, but me as well. And that's warfare prayer, man. Like, I understood it. And that's light compared to what I've gotten in real life. That was PG. That was safe. That was Barney.
Well, it offended a whole lot of people because he was talking about killing their kids and God's going to do it. So I said, I know God loves you. When I looked at it, when I saw it, I was like, I know God loves you, Danae, and God loves Derrick. and y'all are all his kids. But I promise you, if he didn't just start killing people for killing his own son, he sure ain't gonna kill him for talking bad about you and Derrick.
But she learning, man. She I mean, you want a war in the spirit.
Yeah.
You want to speak against those things that are trying to operate against God's plan for your life. But I think that, you know, like she's just still sharpening that. But
Right.
she meant well. That's all.
And so y'all still going through a divorce now? Is the divorce final?
No, we moving it along as fast as we can, but it's still a process. And no, so legally we are still married.
And do you desire to get married again?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I don't think your past has to dictate your future. I don't think just because you failed at something, maybe you were the one that sabotaged and jacked it up like me, or maybe you just was you got done wrong and, you know, you endured it. But I don't think we have to look at how things went in the past at any point and say, never again will we ever have a chance. I still value marriage. I still value family. I understand some things now I didn't before. Not only understand, I've prepared differently, and I'm preparing going into it again. But when the time comes, I ain't in no hurry.
Right.
But I want to make sure when God aligns my person, you know, she gets the best of me. And, you know, we don't repeat the same issues as the past.
When you, do you look at yourself as being single now, even though you're legally married?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you move like a single man?
To a large degree. I'm moving like a single man who's focused on his children and his healing and personal growth. So, you know, I may spend time with
My StreamYard is acting up, so I can't post up the comments. I don't know why, but I see Catherine, you popped up in here. And Catherine with friends says, hey, Donna and chat, question, is he still with his wife? I guess you're finding out now. He filed for divorce, and, you know, it's just, I guess it's taking a little bit of time, but yes, he wants to get a divorce. I don't know if you probably just came in if you could have caught the reason why he decided that was it, and he had to file for a divorce. And welcome to everybody who's coming in here. And make sure everybody vote. Resume.
with people I wouldn't normally spend if I was in a marriage, but I'm not developing anything towards nothing. I got my focus really on my kids because, like, again, we've been co-parents for the last almost year. And it's them who didn't choose to be a part of any of this.
Anything you want to leave the audience with? What would you like to say? What's on the heart of Derrick Jaxn?
Bother the bugs. Not your
Would you like to say, whether it's to, matter of fact, I don't even want you speaking to the women. I want you to speak to the brothers that may be in the same situation as you've been in, feel like, you know, they've tried, they've mismanaged their marriage, cheated, whatever. What would you say to those brothers that, as they always say, well, he can't tell me nothing, when we've been in them shoes before?
First off, you're not alone. You're not alone in how you cope. You're not alone in what you struggle in. You're not alone in that guilt and shame. You're not alone in feeling unheard and unseen and like you don't matter. You're not alone in feeling like, you know, you're just about being a good behavior and everybody wants you to do right. No, nobody care if you're okay. You're not alone in feeling like, you know, your woman can use her intuition to see if you're cheating, but she ain't using that same intuition to see if you're at peace and if you're happy. There are other men who feel the same way. I felt the same way. And let me also say, it's not always somebody else's fault. I don't even believe in relationship problems as much as I used to. I believe we have internal problems that we bring into a relationship. So for everything that you're feeling, even though you're not alone, your wife, your girl, she ain't the enemy either. She ain't the cause either. And if you're like me and you're reactive, you're apart from your masculine role. We're supposed to be the standard. Femininity is supposed to be the responsive agent. So what that means is, instead of getting in a relationship thinking like me, I'm speaking from where I feel like I really dropped the ball, so hopefully you don't. Instead of feeling like, well, as long as she do me right and pour into my cup and so on and so forth, I'm gonna do right. That's a recipe for disaster, man. Of course, you don't want to do a good woman wrong, but it should be about you being a good man to your standards, your principles, regardless of that woman's behavior. And if she's not good enough to do right by, probably best to go ahead and let her go. That's not me preaching. That's me hopefully trying to reach somebody, you know, who still has a family, and you have the opportunity to keep that intact, or you have the opportunity to keep it from suffering such humiliation and such damage before, you know, it eventually fizzles out. And honestly, I will speak to women as well as men. No matter what decisions you've made, if you've been the villain like me or the victim like I have at times as well, don't let that define your ambition going forward. You may have messed up, but you have value to offer this world, and you got value to offer somebody in love. So maybe you was a part of a pattern like me and you stepped out, and that's the big sin, but maybe you had a pattern of sabotage. Maybe you had a pattern of overreacting, never trusting, closing down, whatever your pattern is. It doesn't have to be your future. And that's for any woman that done chose the wrong man over and over again, endured the wrong thing over and over again, or any man that's endured the wrong thing over and over again, or chose wrong, etc. That's all.
Derrick, you know something? Giftings are given without repentance. But I'm telling you got a gift for this thing. You really do. You have a gift, and I'm just listening to you. And the reason why, and I text you when I did the episode with Dana, and I said, hey, listen, this episode is going to drop. I'm going to keep you lifted up in prayer. Because the thing that, I'm trying not to get emotional. The worst thing that I want to be is the catalyst that sends another person, a brother, a human being over the edge. And so I'm sensitive to the giftings, the platform that God has given me. And so I'm sensitive to the fact that even though this brother, because the thing about it, and I'll level with you, if I had a platform when I was at my worst point, when I was married, probably would have looked at like people looked at you. It's just so happened that I didn't have the platform when I was cheating on my wife. Now, of course, I could say, well, I wasn't also over here giving relationship advice or whatever. But I'm saying if my worst day was televised, how would people look at me? If our worst day is publicized, how would people look at said individual? And so I offer people the same grace that I know that God extends to me. And so I text you that day and I said, listen, brother, I want you to get your healing. I want your family to be healed. I want your family to be restored. And I want you to know that I'm praying for you and I love you. Because at the end of the day, you still my doggone brother, no matter what. And then when I found out that you're a brother in Christ, you really my brother. And so what I say to you, King, is that I'm standing 10 toes down. I want to see your family healed, restored. I want to see y'all have the best co-parenting relationship ever. I want y'all to be able to go to lunch together and dinner together. And people are like, are they back together? Like, no, it's what healthy looks like. Yeah. This is what healthy looks like. Yeah. And instead of passing on generational curses, I want us to pass on generational healing. So I want that for you and Danae. I pray that God continues to heal those beautiful kings and queens that y'all raising up so that they could see a healthy relationship, see what healthy co-parenting looks like.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want for y'all. That's what I'm praying for y'all. Matter of fact, I'll just end in prayer. Heavenly Father, I lift up the Jaxns before you right now in the name of Jesus. Lord, I thank you for my brother coming on this platform and bearing his heart, bearing his soul, showing up 10 toes down, and for him to even name the episode, You Reap What You Sow. He has been totally transparent and honest about how he's been showing up and the lack thereof. And God, I hope this episode touches the hearts and the minds of the people that witness it, those that are coming just to see some sensationalize a story, to be able to pick out sound bites to attack your people. God, I ask that you convict their hearts and they're able to see, okay, God, I see it now. I understand. You know, and I want us to be able to offer each other grace, God. And we thank you. We thank you for their relationship, even the demise of the relationship. We thank you because all things work together for the good of them that love God and to the called according to your purpose.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of it. This has been a long one. Guess there's no other comments here. All right, let me just read the last of it. Jack, are you there? Do you have any closing thoughts before I get
I mean, it's a tough situation. I mean, what he did was still wrong, but I understand. I have more clarity in why he was doing the things he was doing.
Okay. Well, my closing thoughts on this one is, I have to say, is I'm so glad that we got to hear his side of the story. And it seems like so many people's not really trying to hear his side of the story because I don't see too many people doing reactions. That shows. They all had the big reaction when Danae was talking. Nobody's really focusing on this one. So now we get to hear there's always three sides to every story. It's yours, mine, and then there's the truth. Okay? And I have to say is we have to remember the mother, the mother was a little bit too much into this relationship. She caused problems. And now she's going to realize it's Danae, this man is done with you. He's completely done. But he will be a provider to the children. I still think he's going to still, provide for you, whatever, go through divorce. But he's going to move on. He's going to find, okay, Angel, he's going to find himself new love. He's going to move into another relationship. And I guess, Danae, women like you, my opinion, is going to be you, the Bible, your mama, and the church with the kids. But I'm not saying he was perfect. She wasn't perfect, but he was trying. He was trying. And to, with Tasha K exposing, you see what happened with you exposing? This man almost was about to end his life. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be careful about all this exposing and have something to say about somebody else because you don't know. And like he ended it too, the host. He ended about, he's being careful the words he say because you don't know how a person's going to feel at the end, how they're going to take it because everybody has feelings and they have emotions. And you don't know how somebody's going to respond to it. That's why I was saying, I apologize with the little chuckles I had about the bonnet before. I didn't make no commentary, nothing like that, because you don't know how a person feels. And you say something, that's a form of bullying. Believe it or not, everybody's making these videos talking about the bonnet. That is a form of bullying. If it's not, please explain to me what the heck is bullying, but it is. And for me, the little chuckles and talking about it, that was a part of me bullying too. And I shouldn't have. So we just need to think before what we do. But I'm just happy that, there was no violence in this relationship. She never said he hit her. He never said he put his hands on her, nothing like that. But it's really sad. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you're supposed to care about this person, love this person. They come into you and they down and out and they telling you about, they're about to kill themselves and for you to get on the phone with your mother and tell her and start laughing. You didn't get on the phone with your mother and say, hey, what can I do? My husband feels this way. What can I do? I got to give him some help. No. They was laughing. This is the fault of your kids. Not good. Yep, she got to go. But well, Danae, you have your Bible. You have your church. You know with God and everything. You got your mama. You do you. And he's going to move on. Yep. All right. So thank you, everybody, for being here. This has been a long time. And thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you for being mod on deck. Love you, love you, love you. And let me read the poll the last time before I end. I forgot the last number. I think we got 2 more votes. But I'm going to read the poll real quick. Do you think Derrick Jaxn is being honest with his side? 14% says, no way. 29% says, yes, I feel he is. 43% says, not sure. 14% says, I can't stand this man. All right. What did Lovejoy say? Thank you, Donna. Great show and closing thoughts. Good night, everyone. Stay in peace and not pieces. Woo, you go. I wish I could put that StreamYard. Why you had to do this with the comments? But thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here because this was definitely a long one. And I'm doing commentary tomorrow. If you can come tomorrow, you can. If not, you can watch a replay, whatever you want to do. But I'm gonna get into some low life ham hock eating low life. Oh my gosh, I'm about to go in on him tomorrow. All right, so blessings to you, Derrick. Blessings to your children. Blessings to soon to be your ex-wife. And may you both find peace and definitely be able to find peace in co-parenting. I don't want to be negative, but I got the strange feeling she's going to give you heck with the co-parenting. Because my mother-in-law is going to be tweeting in her ear, unfortunately. But I'll pray that it doesn't happen because people that do that, it's going to affect the children. We have to stop thinking about us as adults. We got to focus on these little angels that you have, the 3 angels. All right. Peace, blessings. Bye, everybody. Let me stop talking. Oh, my gosh. Look at the time. Bye.